primordial universe. Far out among the stars floated an immeasurably vast supercontinent, suspended in space. Nearby stars and planets hung like specks of sesame seed beside the immense landmass. This is ironic, Li Qi thought as he sat in the luxury cabin of the escort ship. Others have their nutrient solution strengthening delivered to them, but I have to come to the Virtual Universe Corporation headquarters in person. Being so large really makes things inconvenient. He had been escorted by Virtual Universe Corporation personnel to their universal headquarters. Li Qi had already cultivated the Yuan Chong Ruyi body to the 3rd level, which allowed him to compress his height down to 3 meters. But for nutrient solution strengthening, he had to present himself in his natural state, without using concealment techniques. The corporation, with all its resources, naturally kept extra-large nutrient solution capsules. Even so, none were large enough for Li Qi's 238-meter frame. His enormous size was the result of consuming the giant god power fruit, and there were precedents where consumers grew even larger after absorbing massive amounts of energy. So rather than delivering a capsule, the corporation required him to come to headquarters to be strengthened in a fixed, super-large capsule there, one that could accommodate any additional growth. Li Qi mused, "Once the F-class ship I ordered arrives, I can head straight back to Qianwu Universe Country." He had already received his appointment letter. He was to serve as inspector of Qianwu Universe Country, officially the 6th most powerful figure under the Qianwu Country Lord. Official rank aside, with his talent and status as a Universe Lord's disciple, Li Qi knew he truly stood among the foremost. A soft knock came at the cabin door. "Your Highness Li Qi, the ship has arrived at the Universal headquarters," a solemn, pleasant female voice announced. "Understood." Li Qi rose and opened the door. Standing before him, under the guidance of an undying spiritual god in a cyan battlesuit, were 3 white-robed staff who bowed respectfully. Using his Yuan Chong Ruyi body to compress himself, Li Qi's 238-meter height had been reduced to just above 3 meters, though he still seemed taller than the Undying and the 3 World Lords. "This is the legendary prodigy, Your Highness Li Qi, who passed the Heavenly Bridge's 12th level," one of the attendants murmured. "What an imposing aura," another breathed. "Officially, he's Territory Lord rank, but he feels like a World Lord," the third said in awe. Li Qi smiled at the undying spiritual god. "Thank you for escorting me, Marquise Qingque." "You're welcome, Your Highness," Marquise Qingque replied lightly. "The headquarters staff will receive you from here." Li Qi followed them off the ship and into the vast complex. An hour later, they arrived at the super-large nutrient solution capsule concentration area. Before him rose a silver-white building thousands of meters tall. "Is this the capsule I'll be using?" he asked the white-robed attendant beside him. "Yes, Your Highness," the attendant answered. "This capsule is 6,129 meters tall overall, with an internal height of 5,000 meters. Considering the possibility that Your Highness's height might increase further, this is the most suitable capsule." Li Qi nodded. The scale seemed excessive until he looked around at towers that reached 10,000 kilometers. Here, such sizes were ordinary. He wondered, half amused, who could ever need a capsule tens of thousands of kilometers tall? The massive capsule hummed. Its smooth metal front split open, revealing the cavernous chamber inside. "Your Highness, to enter the capsule for strengthening, you must maintain your normal body height," the attendant reminded him. "Understood." Li Qi nodded and approached the yawning doorway. As he drew near, he let his body expand. By the time he stepped inside the chamber, his height had returned to 238 meters. Even so, he felt small against the capsule's enormous interior. He stored his cloud-caressing vine and force armor in his world ring, and the sub-zero, deep purple nutrient solution rose to meet him, quickly submerging his body. Outside, the 3 white-robed staff conversed by mind power. "Do you think His Highness's height will increase further?" one asked. "I doubt it," another said. "A 238-meter height for a territory lord is already rare in my experience. It's said the giant god power fruit can multiply height 100-fold. It shouldn't go beyond that." They were all undying spiritual gods of considerable age and had lived through the active period of giant god star. They knew the fruit's reputation well. Still, as the capsule began its operation, nutrient fluid pumping in with a steady whoosh. The attendants watched their monitor screens closely. Inside the capsule, Li Qi floated in the warm, enveloping solution. He estimated the strengthening would take at least a year. When he had previously used a capsule to rise from universe rank to universe level 9th order, it had taken months. But going from Territory Lord First Order to 9th, along with improving his life, genetic primal energy, and accommodating potential growth, would likely be longer. He planned to use the time to practice movement and claw techniques, and to continue cultivating the Yuan Chong Ru Yi body whenever he could. Cultivation of that technique was slow outside the primordial universe. A month later, the attendants were frowning at their screens. "This can't be right," one muttered. "The giant god power fruit was supposed to cap at 100-fold, but His Highness's height has already gone past 400 meters," another said. "It's still increasing." At Territory Lord Third Order, Li Qi's height had climbed unexpectedly. They reported the anomaly to headquarters. A year in, they watched in stunned disbelief as his profile approached a kilometer. "Almost 1 kilometer, one whispered. "Is the giant god power fruit really that potent?" "It shouldn't be. The upper limit has always been 100-fold, replied another. "There must be some special opportunity His Highness obtained." The incident was formally reported up the chain. Word reached the virtual universe's high ranks and set off a flurry of inquiries. 2 years passed. In the super-large capsule concentration area, the attendants stared at the utilization screen in awe. What had been only about 5% of the capsule's designed capacity now registered at 50%. "His Highness Li Qi's height has reached 2 kilometers, one breathed. 2 kilometers, another said. "Beyond most human race standards, an enviable opportunity. If we could replicate this, becoming a marquise would be easy," a third murmured. They knew the benefits a massive divine power body could bring. An undying spiritual god's body could be freely shrunk, so the inconvenience of size was manageable for them. The band of attendants watched for signs of Li Qi waking, then notified the virtual universe executives as the capsule's systems began to indicate a recovery. The news reached different corners of the virtual universe. On Thunder Island's central mountain range, Lingtu Venerable read the report with a touch of envy. He forwarded the matter to his teacher, Ice Peak Lord, and waited for instruction. "No need to pay attention to it," Ice Peak Lord replied succinctly. Lingtu smiled ruefully. If Ice Peak had declined to pursue the case, it likely meant the opportunity behind Li Qi's growth could be traced by a universe lord and was not something that could be replicated or distributed. The oldest, highest-ranking universe exalts in the corporation had the power to investigate any incident, but Ice Peak's dismissal put an end to further meddling. The conference room where the exalts met dispersed. Their consensus, whatever advantage Li Qi had, was not for general use. Back in the capsule, Li Qi slowly regained consciousness. The nutrient fluid receded, and his awareness slipped from the virtual universe back to the primordial universe. He assessed his body. His physical strength and toughness were far beyond typical universe rank now. Genetically, his primal energy and mind power had been strengthened to Territory Lord 9th Order. Weight. He felt a strange weight. Scanning with mind power, he discovered his height had been multiplied tenfold. Where he had been 238 meters before entering the capsule, he was now 2,380 meters. Joy flared through him, tinged with helplessness. He had finally cultivated the Yuan Chong Ru Yi body to its 3rd level, which had allowed him to compress his 238-meter form down to 3 meters. But now, with his baseline 10 times larger, that same compression reduced him only to 30 meters. Beep, beep, beep. The hatch of the nutrient solution cabin, a structure more than 6,000 meters tall, opened. Li Qi emerged, slow and deliberate. At full height, he stood 2,380 meters tall, wearing a 5th-order force armor beneath a cloud-caressing vine battlesuit. On the ground, 3 white-robed, undying spiritual gods, each barely 2 meters tall, craned their necks to look up at the mountain of a man with a mix of awe and envy. Li Qi glanced down at the 3 tiny figures, then activated the secret technique Yuan Chong Ru Yi body. His massive form visibly contracted until, as he floated before them, he was only 30 meters tall. The 3 white-robed undying flashed up to his shoulder height. The one in the lead bowed slightly. Your Highness Li Qi, where are you headed? We'll escort you. They had already reported his departure to their superiors at the Virtual Universe Corporation and were following standard procedure. Otherwise, they would have had to invite him as a guest. I'm returning to the primitive mystical region, Li Qi replied. He had planned to remain at headquarters while waiting for his F-class spaceship to be built and delivered, then return directly to the Qianwu Universe country. But the nutrient solution cabin enhancement had taken far longer than expected. His ship had already been sent to the primitive mystical region, so he had to go back now. Your Highness, please follow us. Led by the three white-robed undying spiritual gods, Li Qi boarded a spaceship bound for the primitive mystical region. Later, on Wu Chen continent within the primitive mystical region, Li Qi arrived at his estate. He stood on an open stretch of grass and regarded his F-class prismatic ship. The vessel was roughly the size of his reduced form, about 36 meters long, 10 meters wide, and 10 meters tall at its highest point. Its hull was dark red inlaid with bright red law sigils. The twin forward horns were covered in intricate patterns. There was only enough hell alloy for this size, Li Qi noted to himself. They had to mix in some lower-grade F materials to finish it. He drew out an avatar from his world ring that looked and felt exactly like him, split off a trace of consciousness to control it, and boarded the ship to inspect the interior. The virtual tour revealed an elegant layout, control room and quiet room at opposite ends. The central section split into 2 decks, with a public lounge below and 2 independent bedrooms above. The interior had been decorated to his specifications. 2 bedrooms so the guard leader could accompany and protect him during his assignment in the Qianwu Universe country. The Virtual Universe Corporation's designers had matched his understated aesthetic perfectly. This ship will be called Dark Qi, Li Qi decided. As a prismatic vessel, the name could have included the character Suo, shuttle, but many flying mind energy weapons use that glyph, so he left it out. He then submitted his application to travel to the Qianwu Universe country through the Virtual Universe system. The primitive mystical region was vast, an ancient, cosmic secret realm. On Wu Chen continent, a near-endless expanse of palace complexes housed generations of geniuses. The control center for the continent was a 66-story black tower whose base measured more than 1,000 kilometers and whose height reached tens of thousands of kilometers, enclosing a controlled space-time region. On the 45th floor, a hall full of precision instruments and light screens hummed with activity. Silver-clad staff worked the consoles. Here and there, black-clad uniformed officers supervised. Your Highness Li Qi is leaving the primitive mystical region by spaceship for the Qianwu Universe country, a black-clad officer announced. Authorize His Highness Li Qi's ship, Dark Chai, he ordered. Yes, several silver-clad attendants began operating the light screens. As the authorization completed, low murmurs and speculation rippled through the room. He's been at headquarters more than 3 years since breaking through to the Domain Lord rank, and now he's leaving so soon after coming back. I heard he went in for a nutrient solution cabin enhancement. It took more than 3 years and consumed tons of nutrient solution. With his body size, that's hardly surprising. If a talent who passed the universe rank primitive mountain like him becomes an undying spiritual god, his height will make him a terrifying champion among king rank undying. Indeed, with a divine body over 300 meters, he could outlast opponents. Over 300 meters? Have you seen the latest? His height supposedly reached 3,000 meters. What? 3,000 meters? The black-clad officers traded telepathic surprised exclamations. Among undying, body height was a matter of prestige. Back at his estate, Li Qi escorted the guard army leader, Miao Li, aboard Dark Qi. Miao Li settled inside and asked softly, Your Highness, how much did this F-class ship cost to build? One of the pricier ones, Li Qi replied, relaxing into the lounge while the ship's intelligence, the optical computer Shaoxi, took over navigation. Construction alone cost over 7 million Hunyuan units. Miao Li shook his head. My ship was built from the common F-class alloy, so it cost only a little more than 10,000 Hunyuan units in total. Miao Li, a peak immortal military lord, had procurement channels through the Virtual Universe Corporation and could buy common F-class alloy inexpensively. Ordinary immortal military lords' net worths only reached around 10,000 Hunyuan units, most of which they invested in exceptional weapons and battlesuits. In Miao Li's case, top-tier 6th-order gear worth tens of thousands of Hunyuan units. To afford something much more expensive, he would have to sacrifice weaponry. "You're already at the peak of immortal military lord," Li Qi said with a smile. "Give it a bit more time, and you'll break through to Marcus-level Undying. Then getting a better F-class ship will be easy." Miao Li nodded. Wealth accumulation accelerates dramatically at Marquis level. An ordinary Marcus-level Undying might have a net worth of 10 million Hunyuan units, and buying an F-class ship worth a few 100,000 would be simple. But once one advances, updating weapons and battlesuits becomes necessary, and that costs a fortune. "Sir," Li Qi went on, "if we traveled normally by ship to the Qianwu Universe country, it would take over 3 years." "That's too long," Miao Li agreed. "I'd like to ask you to take me there via Divine Kingdom teleportation. I have a divine power token anchored in the Yanqi star domain of the Qianwu Universe country," Miao Li said. "I can teleport there directly." Divine Kingdom teleportation requires a trace of eternal divine power. Each undying spiritual god is unique, and the divine power carries their soul imprint. That linkage allows them to find and use divine power tokens to perform long-distance teleportation. "I know it consumes a lot of energy," Li Qi said. "I'll give you 10 Hunyuan units as compensation." "You're too kind," Miao Li smiled. "Opening a space channel will cost roughly 3 Hunyuan units, and teleporting from the Divine Kingdom to Yanqi Star Domain will cost about 8 Hunyuan units in total." Space channels are either fixed or temporary. Fixed channels are extremely resource-intensive. Even a short fixed link costs tens of thousands of Hunyuan units, and the price rises with distance. Temporary channels are single-use and cheaper, but still require at least 1 Hunyuan unit, scaling with distance. For an ordinary immortal military lord, Divine Kingdom teleportation is an occasional luxury. Each use can equal 0.7 to 1% of their net worth. Only king-rank Undying commonly use it for travel. "It's only 8 Hunyuan units," Li Qi said, smiling. "Give me your account and I'll transfer it." Miao Li thanked him and provided his bank account. Half a day later, the dark red prismatic ship cut across the endless star lanes. "Your Highness," Miao Li said, "we are clear of the primitive mystical region. We can begin Divine Kingdom teleportation." Because the primitive mystical region is a core stronghold of the Virtual Universe Corporation, any violent spatial fluctuations could draw unwanted attention, so Miao Li had waited until they were well away. He stood and the air around him rippled with a subtle, potent law aura. A brilliant, blinding light flared from his body, expanding outward to envelop several kilometers of space and the entire dark Qi ship. Li Qi, bathed in the radiance, glimpsed the faint outline of a majestic deep purple palace within the light. The ship was caught in the beam, a space channel formed, and in an instant, the vessel was drawn into Miao Li's Divine Kingdom. Inside Miao Li's Divine Kingdom, Li Qi sat in the lounge and watched the vivid virtual scenery scroll by. The Divine Kingdom felt like a continent suspended in the star domain. A deep purple palace rose at its center. Misted forests and lakes spread across the land, and mountains dipped into shimmering waters. "Your Highness, this is my Divine Kingdom," Miao Li said, smiling. "It's beautiful," Li Qi replied. Miao Li's tone grew serious. "The Divine Kingdom is the most important place for an undying spiritual god. Never draw a dangerous enemy into your Divine Kingdom. If your Divine Kingdom collapses, even if you survive, you'll never advance further." Li Qi nodded. "And teleportation from a Divine Kingdom must be done from a secluded location. There must be no other undying spiritual gods nearby." "Exactly," Miao Li agreed. "If others trace the teleportation and find the location of your Divine Kingdom, it becomes a nightmare." Because Li Qi's status was special, Miao Li trusted him enough to let him travel from the Divine Kingdom rather than keep him sealed in a world ring like other guard army members. "Shall we depart for the Qianwu Universe country now?" Miao Li asked. "Yes." Miao Li's entire being condensed with law aura, and the deep purple palace's light concentrated into a soaring pillar. The dark Qi sped toward it, entered the pillar, and in a heartbeat vanished. The teleportation completed, the pillar's brilliance faded. On an unnamed mineral planet in the Yanqi star domain of the Qianwu universe country, a dazzling flash announced their arrival as the dark red prismatic ship materialized. "Your Highness, we have arrived in the Yanqi star domain," Miao Li said. "Qianwu universe country." Li Qi watched the projected exterior and felt a swell of emotion. After more than 400 years away, he had finally returned. Volume 6 is complete. It took over a month to write and contains a little over 200,000 characters. Everything that needed to be written has been written. Although some sections dragged, the overall result met expectations. Volume 7 will begin tomorrow. Updates were a bit slow this volume. With many banquets during next month's National Day holiday, I can only promise to keep updating without breaks. The Ode chapters will remain until I'm in better condition to make them up. Current Ode chapters: 26. Qianwu Universe Country, Lava Starfield. Li Qi Royce, serving as an inspector for the Qianwu Universe, did not go straight to the Qianwu Starfield. Instead, he boarded a ship home, eager to return. After more than a month of travel, he finally arrived at his homeworld, Kuka Star. Inside the dark Qi prismatic ship, Li Qi Royce and Miao Li sat on a lounge sofa beneath a simulated starfield. Ahead of them, projected by the ship's navigation, hung a green planet ringed with artificial satellites. Miao Li looked at the verdant globe. "Your Highness, this is your home?" "Yes." Li Qi Royce's voice had a hint of emotion. "I haven't been back in over 500 years." Miao Li tilted his head. "Only 500 years? Does that feel long to you?" "Given His Highness's lifespan," the attendant murmured telepathically. "He spent 90% of his life away. No wonder he's so excited." Hearing that the prodigy known as Your Highness was only a bit over 600 years old made the attendant understand. He asked politely, "Your Highness, shall I release the guard contingent from the world ring?" "No." Li Qi Royce shook his head. "Too many guards, at least 1,000 universe-rank fighters. It would cause a panic." As a member of a primordial mystical region, Li Qi Royce's guard contained an undying spiritual god as commander, 10 world lords as captains, and a host of domain lords and universe-rank warriors. Even the sight of that many domain lords would put Kuka Star on high alert. The Royce family's rise was recent. Their foundation wasn't secure enough to marshal such forces openly. Without a planetary defense system, it would only invite trouble. Soon the ship moved into the spaceport, and a 4-armed, 4-eyed stellar worker flew over to inspect the dark red vessel. He stared at its unfamiliar design, over 30 meters long, covered in strange red patterns, and muttered, "No model record, probably custom-made, better be respectful." The hatch opened with a click. A handsome black-haired young man in black battle armor floated out, followed by a white-maned wolf in dark blue armor. The stellar worker narrowed his eyes at the newcomer's bearing. Black hair, vertical pupils, familiar. Must be Royce family. Because Li Qi Royce traveled in a body double, the worker couldn't gauge his true power. His gaze snapped to the wolf behind him. When their eyes met, it was like lightning. The man felt his soul struck. A terrifying aura made him tremble. What level is that powerhouse? A world lord. He quickly averted his gaze, heart pounding. "Welcome, honored guests, to Kuka Star," he said, bowing his head. "Please state your purpose and register your ship. My name is Li Qi Royce." The smile on the man in black was small but real. The worker's eyes went wide. "Li Qi Royce, the second-place finisher of the Peak Genius Battle 400 years ago." A flush of admiration crossed the worker's face. "Please wait, Sir Li Qi Royce. I'll inform Sir Crete right away." "Crete," Li Qi Royce murmured, thinking. "Ah, 14. Moments later, streaks of light flew from the spaceport command center. As they approached, a calm, delighted voice called out, 11. Li Qi Royce grinned. 14. 14 was delicate in appearance, but composed in demeanor. He greeted Li Qi Royce with a warm smile and embraced him. 11. Why didn't you tell us you were coming?" "I wanted to surprise father and mother." Li Qi Royce laughed. "Surprise?" 14's expression flickered. He transmitted a thought. 11. You didn't bring a wife? Wife? Li Qi Royce blinked. Seventh mother keeps saying she wants to arrange a wife for me when I return. Miao Li's gray muzzle twitched. He thought wryly that even a prodigy like Li Qi, Royce wasn't immune to marriage pressure. As an undying spiritual god, He could overhear their telepathic exchange and then politely closed his sense to their further chatter. Find me a wife? Lychee Royce sounded bemused but warm. I'll deal with Mother when I see her. He asked 14. You've got descendants, right? Not many. 4 sons and a daughter. 14's face brightened at the mention of his daughter. He gestured to one of the younger men accompanying him. Gu, come greet your 11th ancestor. A young man stepped forward with burning eyes. 11th ancestor. Lychee Royce regarded him. Your grandson? Great-grandson, 14 corrected with pride. He's my best descendant. I'm letting him temper himself before sending him out. He smiled at the young man's fervor. He hopes to be like you, enter the peak genius battle and become a legendary genius. The peak genius battle isn't easy, Lychee Royce asked the youth. Are you a martial artist or a psyker master? What is your awakened genetic primal energy attribute? Reporting, 11th ancestor. I'm a psyker master. My attribute is wood. Lychee Royce's smile widened. No wonder the boy's eyes burned so bright. Same domain and attribute. He casually waved a hand and a green, flat mind energy weapon, like a hiltless greatsword, appeared. 4th tier mind energy weapon, myriad bees. Take it. 14 clapped. Still generous, 11th. A 4th tier right away. Gu took the weapon with trembling gratitude. Thank you, 11th ancestor. Lychee Royce shook his head modestly. I don't have many 4th tier weapons. He's just lucky that this one happens to suit a wood attribute. I'm going to return to the family compound. 14, come with me? Let's. 14 then ordered Gu. The spaceport is under your care. Gu blurted. Great-grandfather, can I? No. 14's voice snapped. You stay at the spaceport. Deflated, Gu replied. Yes, I will stay. They stored the Dark Chai vessel in a world ring and boarded a ship logged into the planetary defense system, gliding into Kukastar's atmosphere. They arrived over the old site of Chaoguang City. It had become a large docking port. The surrounding grasslands were now tall buildings ringed with forests. Overall, though, Kukastar hadn't changed much. Lychee Royce ran a hand along the ship's rail. Over 500 years, and not much has changed. 6th and 7th uncles insisted on preserving things, 14 said. Otherwise, the changes would have been far greater. But since renovations stalled, many family members left to live on other worlds. 14 sighed as they flew. So many people have changed. Power and wealth have made them into strangers I barely recognize. Lychee Royce was quiet. He understood those changes. Sometimes I miss how warm and harmonious the family used to be, 14 admitted. I do too, Lychee Royce replied softly. Not many remain at the compound now. Grandfather, 7th uncle. 14 counted. Only about 10 members of the first 3 generations still lived at the family compound. They descended into the familiar small valley. Lychee Royce landed on a low hill beneath a great tree whose branches had grown enormous. He touched its trunk and remembered, this tree used to be where I rested for hours. 14 joined him. So many years in the blink of an eye. Home, Lychee Royce said. They landed among a cluster of tents under the tree. 14 called out loudly, 7th mother, I'm back. Look who I brought. 14, who did you bring? Came the familiar voice from the largest tent. Wenni, who had reached astral rank and whose appearance had hardly changed in 5 centuries, stepped out. When she saw Lychee Royce, she cried, 11! Mother! Lychee Royce smiled and walked forward. Wenni rushed into his arms. 11, you're finally back. She hesitated, sensing that something was different, and gently pulled back. 11, you feel different. You're always observant, Mother. 14 didn't notice, Lychee Royce said, smiling. This body is just a proxy used for public deeds. It's not my true self. Not your true body, 14 asked. Then where is your true body? You'll see. Lychee Royce gestured toward the reserved figure at his back. Wenni's eyes sharpened. Who is that behind you? 14, who had already learned Miao Li's identity during their trip, introduced him with gravity. This is Mr. Miao Li, 11's guard commander, an undying spiritual god. Wenni's surprise was genuine. She'd learned much from the virtual universe and knew the stature of an undying spiritual god. That such an entity served Lychee Royce explained a great deal about his status. Miao Li bowed slightly. Madam, Wenni stepped forward and bowed in return. I entrust Lychee Royce to you, Mr. Miao Li. You are too kind. Miao Li declined the bow with a calm smile. It is an honor for me to serve His Highness. An honor? Wenni and 14 blinked. How is guarding him an honor? Miaoli's gaze was steady. I was fortunate to become his commander before he rose. His Highness could replace me any time with a stronger undying spiritual god. But he hasn't. A peerless genius like him, who appears once in millions of eras, draws the attention of countless undying spiritual gods. To serve such a man is a rare investment. When he reaches his potential, those who served him will share in the gains. Li Chi Royce smiled but did not answer. He was well aware of what serving a prodigy could mean for the careers of even the greatest beings. "Where is father?" he asked his mother. "He went to discuss matters with your grandfather." Wenni replied, "I heard it concerns the Luojia clan again." Li Chi Royce's brow darkened a little. "The Luojia clan? I thought of a few names for this volume, but ultimately decided to just use the domain Lord Arc." "Yes, the Luojia clan," his mother Wenni said. "They've come looking for your grandfather several times." Li Chi listened and sent a sliver of his consciousness into the virtual universe to pull up data on the Luojia clan. It wasn't highly classified. With his authority, he got the files in an instant. The Luojia clan, a fourth-tier human bloodline whose adults can reach astral rank. Their territory lay in Yuan Chen Universe country. They counted 1 champion-level undying and 16 Marquise-level undyings among their ranks. The clan had a high probability of producing Psyker Masters, roughly 20 to 30%, but its members were notoriously stubborn. Seeing that information, Li Chi's suspicion hardened into near certainty. Could grandfather be Luo Jia? He wondered. He had long suspected that his grandfather's generation possessed a 3rd or 4th-tier bloodline capable of producing astral rank adults. Otherwise, it was hard to explain why almost all of the Royce family's 2nd generation had reached the planetary level. Talent alone couldn't account for it. Now it made sense. His grandfather was almost certainly Luo Jia, and the clan's visit was probably triggered by the Royce family's newest birth, and by him. He was a prodigy-level genius who appeared once every 10 million epochs. That sort of thing would draw attention. He wanted confirmation. "Mother, do you know why the Luojia clan is looking for grandfather?" he asked. Wenni frowned. "I don't involve myself in family affairs. How would I know their intentions? I only ever heard the Luojia name from your father." Li Chi remembered that his mother had always stayed away from family politics. Even when the Royce family became the top family in the lava starfield, she rarely left Kuka Star except for recreation in the virtual universe. "Then I'll go see father and grandfather," he said, turning to 14. "You're coming." "Okay." 14 fell in beside him. Miao Li didn't follow. She rose into the sky, hovering to give Li Chi space for the family meeting. Inside the family discussion tent, Derek paced and worried. "Father, this time, the Luojia clan sent an undying spiritual god. They've descended in their true form into the lava starfield. We can't delay this any longer." There had been no undying spiritual gods in the lava starfield before. The lava world master was roughly equal to an ordinary undying spiritual god, but this was different. The Luojia clan had sent a Marquise-level undying, and they'd arrived in the Qianwu universe country in full form. Royce listened gravely. "They used to only contact us in the virtual universe," he said. "Now, they've sent an undying spiritual god, and it arrived too quickly." As the nominal clan chief of the Royce family, Royce had put the clan off for years. "They found me long after you 11, he said to Li Chi. "They hoped I would lead the Royce family back to the Luojia clan." "Lead us back?" Li Chi asked. "Do they want the Royce family to rejoin the Luojia mainline?" Royce's face was tight. "If only that were all. They want us merged into the main lineage to abolish our family name." 14's voice was low and furious. "That's outright annexation," Royce nodded. "Yes, annexation." Hearing that, Li Chi's expression darkened. The Royce family was his home. How dare the Luojia clan try to strip them of their name? "You should have told me sooner," he said. "You were at a critical stage of your cultivation," Derek protested. "You asked not to be disturbed unless it was absolutely necessary." Li Chi's cultivation had indeed been fragile when he'd entered the Virtual Universe Corporation 100 years earlier, but still, when the family's survival was at stake? "Father, isn't this important?" he said. "At first it wasn't severe," Derek explained. "They approached us politely and asked us to consider it. We delayed them for over 200 years under the pretense of discussion. Li Qi frowned. Did 13 know? 13's second dad, Xiao Yi, and a few others knew, Derek said. Besides them, only eldest brother, third brother, and sixth brother were told. The rest of the family didn't know. Hearing that eased Li Qi's irritation. At least the true core members had been kept in the loop. Royce continued. It might have stayed that way, but the world master overseeing the region was replaced. The new world master pushed for the annexation. A world master? Li Qi scoffed. One world master dares demand annexation of the Royce family? How arrogant. We can defend Kukastar, Derek said. With planetary defenses and the E9 class laser cannon you purchased, we aren't helpless. But he grew sober. Now the Luo clan has sent an undying spiritual god, a Marcus level. He's already heading toward the lava starfield. Li Qi felt troubled. If it were merely an immortal military lord, Miao Li could handle it. A Marquise level undying was another matter. Even a low-ranked champion would be difficult. How powerful is a Marquise level undying? 14 asked. Undying spiritual gods come in tiers, Li Qi said. Most are immortal military lords. Above them are champions, and above champions are Marquise level undyings. The Chanwu universe country has over 100,000 recorded undying spiritual gods, but only a few hundred have reached Marquise level. Those who become champions are even fewer. So few? 14 whistled. Can this be resolved? Derek asked Li Qi. Li Qi nodded. Yes. With Li Qi, an inspector of the Qianwu universe country, a personal disciple of a universe lord, a member of a primitive mystical region in the Virtual Universe Corporation, and a prodigy of once in 10 million epoch caliber, the Luojia Marquise would think twice before acting rashly. Still, Li Qi didn't feel completely secure without sufficient prodigious combat power to protect him personally. Royce and Derek both visibly relaxed when he affirmed his confidence. The weight on them eased. Grandfather, are Luojia people generally stubborn? Li Qi asked, recalling the clan dossier. They are, Royce confirmed. They have a secret art that helps calm people. Because the Royce family carries Luojia blood, many of us are stubborn too, Royce added. But it's not all downside. The bloodline also increases the chance of producing Psyker Masters. In our branch, it's roughly 1 in 10. Li Qi thought back to family history, extremes in behavior, the tragic love of second dad and eldest brother, his father's harshness with the younger generation, 13's reckless possession of the blazing behemoth. He saw the bloodline's imprint everywhere. He also thought of his own memory problems and how much he clung to his family. His stubbornness had deepened that need. 11. Are you staying long or just for a short visit? Derek asked. Li Qi's mind raced. As a territory lord ranked 9th tier, he processed 100 thoughts in an eye blink. I'll be here for a while, but not forever, he said. I returned to take up the post of inspector for the Chanwu universe country. It's a powerful position, which means I'll be very busy. To avoid worrying them, he framed it positively. He didn't tell them that such a post also attracted assassination attempts from foreign races. Having passed universe rank original Tongqian Mountain and being a favored personal disciple of a universe lord, he was a target. He left that part unsaid. The Chanwu branch of the Virtual Universe Corporation has 4 major departments, Li Qi explained. Each department's manager is a major figure in Chanwu. I'll be the 4th great figure of the Virtual Universe's Chanwu branch, with oversight over the other 3. They stared. That much power? Royce and Derek both breathed. Li Qi didn't mention that. In practice, his influence could be counted among the top powers of the entire Chanwu universe country, behind only the Chanwu Country Lord and the leading branches like the Great Axe Battleground, the Universe Mercenary Alliance, and the major banks. He kept that to himself. Father, he said, changing the subject. You reclaimed the 10 galaxies in the family's territory already, right? How's the administration? It's stable, Royce said. Over 500 years, we've raised many talented managers and taken charge of the 10 galaxy territories. Some family and affiliate members left Kukastar before the takeover, and more left afterward, Derek added. Kukastar is somewhat emptier now. Li Qi remembered returning from the original Chaoguang city and noticing the thinning population. He was about to comment when Royce cleared his throat. 11, Royce said. Li Qi tilted his head. Yes? You're the pillar of this family, Royce said, careful. It might be inappropriate to bring it up now, but it's time you considered settling down. Heard it from your mother many times, Derek added. Among our third generation, only you, 13 and 19, remain unmarried. Your mother hopes you'll have children. Li Qi was silent for a beat, then sighed. I can't have children right now. Why not? Derek asked. Call mother and I'll show you the reason, Li Qi said, and led them away from the others. Miao Li. Li Qi led the three out of the tent and called softly. In the next instant, Bai Zong Langren Miao Li appeared before them, over 3 meters tall and clad in a dark blue battlesuit. Your Highness, Miao Li greeted with a smile. This is Mr. Miao Li, the commander of my guard army, Li Qi said. He is also an undying spiritual god. Royce and Derek exchanged astonished looks. An undying spiritual god serving as the guard commander, Li Qi's status was far higher than they had imagined. From Miao Li's respectful manner, it was clear he was content with the role. They bowed. Mr. Miao Li. Miao Li smiled and nodded. Greetings. From now on, please take care of Li Qi, Derek said. You flatter me. It is my duty, Miao Li replied. After introducing the three, Li Qi brought his mother, Wen Ni, forward. 11. What strange thing are you up to now? She asked. Mother, remember when I said the form you see now is only an avatar? Li Qi asked. I'm going to show you my true body. Avatar? True body? Royce and Derek looked puzzled. This shape is not your real body? Royce asked. No, what you see here is only an avatar acting on behalf of my true body, Li Qi said softly. My real body is inside the world ring. World ring? Everyone except Miao Li looked baffled. Why would it be in the world ring? You'll see when you get in, Li Qi said, smiling. Miao Li, beside him, added with a quiet smile, Your Highness's true body is magnificent. Magnificent. The word made the family even more anxious and curious. All right, let's enter the world ring, Li Qi said and led them in. Inside the world ring, everyone except Li Qi's avatar appeared on a vast land. Mountains of ore were piled in the distance, and a dark red prismatic spaceship lay not far off, but the edge of this world could not be seen. 14 looked around in wonder. This is a whole world? It's enormous. Look, Royce suddenly pointed. They turned to see a colossal, dark purple object towering before them, over 1,000 meters tall, as if formed from countless vines. It radiated a powerful aura, restrained, yet still imposing. It felt like facing a world lord. Then a booming voice echoed from the mountain-like mass. Father, Mother, Derek and Wen Ni froze. The voice, though thunderous, carried an unmistakable intimacy. 14, steadier than the others, blurted, Is this 11's true body? It was exactly that. The dark purple behemoth was Li Qi, wearing the cloud-caressing vine battlesuit. This is my true body, the voice rumbled. The immense upper torso turned slowly, revealing half a face. 11. Wen Ni couldn't believe her eyes. After more than 5 centuries apart, this was the reunion she had never expected. How did you become like this? Derek's voice was grave. The sheer scale of the body explained why Li Qi had spoken before about not having descendants. Miao Li watched from a distance, his expression a mixture of awe and appraisal. It's the first time I've seen His Highness's true body since he broke through to Territory Lord rank, he thought. When he adventured in that cultivation world, his height grew to 238 meters. Breaking through to Territory Lord rank multiplied that again. This is astonishing. Most humans stand under 5 meters. Ones over 5 meters are rare. Some branch races are taller. Miao Li himself was just over 3 meters. The Langren line averages 6 to 8 meters, with exceptional individuals exceeding 10. Li Qi's divine body, enormous even by those standards, would give him a decisive advantage as an undying spiritual god. In battles of equal rank, size matters. 2 attacks of equal power can have wildly different effects depending on how much of the opponent's divine body they annihilate. Miao Li understood that better than most. This form came from an opportunity I gained while cultivating in the Virtual Universe Corporation, Li Qi said, and his enormous body visibly shrank. Although being this big is inconvenient, overall, it's a great benefit. I'll profit from it in the future. He continued shrinking until he reached 30 meters, the current limit of his Yuan Chong Ruyi body secret technique. Li Qi sighed. This is as small as this technique can make me. Everyone understood immediately. With his present stature, he could not father children. The remark answered their earlier prodding about marriage. Mother, father, Li Qi transmitted gently, you've seen my situation. It's not that I refuse, conditions simply don't allow it. We understand, Derek replied. We won't bring it up again. Actually, father, you should hurry, Li Qi teased. You're already astral rank. The longer you wait, the harder it'll get. I'll discuss it with your mother, Derek said, not giving a firm promise. Li Qi chatted a few more moments with Wen Ni, then sent his family out of the world ring. After they left, Li Qi looked down at Miao Li, still wearing his battle suit, and asked, Miao Li. Your Highness, Miao Li answered respectfully. Can I trust you? Li Qi asked seriously. Pleased and honored, Miao Li immediately replied, I swear loyalty to your Highness unto death. Good, Li Qi inclined his head. Arrange for some trustworthy people under your command to come to Qianwu Universe Country, and don't spread this. Yes, Miao Li said twice, understanding the secrecy in the assignment. Li Qi sent Miao Li out of the world ring. Kuka Star. Miao Li's gray-white muzzle pulled into a satisfied grin. Ha! I've finally become the first undying spiritual god to serve under His Highness. He felt elated. Pledging to a territory lord might seem odd for an undying spiritual god, but this territory lord was Li Qi, an extraordinary prodigy, a personal disciple of someone greater than a universe country lord, and a member of the primitive mystical region who had passed the universe rank original Tongqin Mountain. Leaders of the primitive mystical region guard army had long been coveted positions. Many undying spiritual gods sought them out, hoping to attach themselves to rising geniuses. Miao Li had apparently gotten a fortunate match. He vowed to do the task Li Qi had assigned him well. As he prepared to send a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe to arrange arrivals to Qianwu Universe Country, he noticed something odd on his ledger. What is this? 10,000 Hunyuan units had just been transferred into his account, sent by Li Qi. Inside the world ring, Li Qi had indeed sent that transfer before withdrawing his consciousness. He'd been Territory Lord 9th tier for a long time, and still hadn't cultivated the second layer of the 9 Revolutions Yuan heavy body refining method. That method was risky to begin. Its initial cultivation carried a life-threatening danger and therefore required assistance from a clone secret technique. Now that he had mastered the legacy clone technique, cultivating the second layer should no longer be lethal. Even if there was danger, his clone ability would protect him. He had prepared carefully. He left the Guyu ancient tree clone and the first branch tree in the primitive mystical region for extra safety. After breaking through to Territory Lord rank and strengthening to 9th tier at the Virtual Universe Corporation headquarters, Li Qi had returned once to the primitive mystical region. He'd thought about taking the first branch tree with him, but ultimately left it there. That way, even if his human main body perished, he could transfer his core to the second branch tree using the Move Branch talent, re-incubate his main body back in Qianwu Universe Country, and let the Guyu Ancient Tree clone replace the second branch tree. The clone would then recast Move Branch to revive the second branch tree. After transferring the core back to the first branch tree and replacing it with the Guyu clone, he could use Move Branch again to revive the first. The maneuver was complex in description, but simple in execution. The Move Branch talent lets the core jump between branch trees, enabling effectively infinite resurrection for his human main body so long as his soul isn't destroyed. It was resource-intensive and only possible because he was a primitive mystical region member with access to abundant cultivation resources. Unlike Luo Feng in the original story, who had 3 clones carrying the core around, Li Qi's approach leveraged special life forms and abundant resources to keep the core safe. With that in mind, Li Qi prepared to cultivate the second layer of the 9 Revolutions Yuan heavy body refining method. An invisible fluctuation enveloped him. His genetic essence shifted and evolved, and his life gene level rose. More than 10 days later, he finished. It's done. He felt his basic strength increase markedly. For a moment, he imagined he could blow up a planet with his physical body, but almost immediately, his genes felt ravenous as though starved for days. Why such intense hunger? He wondered, and examined himself. Horror stopped him cold. He had become a skeleton. His genetic primal energy was severely depleted. Muscle had atrophied, leaving skin hanging over bones. Even his source of life talent's rapid restoration was barely a trickle compared to the deficit. How can this be? He panicked and swallowed a life fruit. The fruit dissolved, and a majestic life force surged through him, seeping into every gap, filling the void. But one life fruit was not enough. The gene hunger only intensified. He swallowed a second. Muscle began to return, but the restoration fell short. Without hesitation, he consumed several more life fruits in quick succession. With each, the majestic life force poured into him, and his body gradually recovered from the skeletal state. When his body finally stabilized, Li Qi stared at himself in disbelief. I only cultivated a legacy secret technique. Why would my body undergo something like that? My height has increased again. Li Qi's heart leapt. After checking carefully, he confirmed it. His body height had climbed to over 10 kilometers, 4 times his previous 2.38 kilometers. The multiplier matched the jump in his life gene level exactly. After cultivating the second layer of the 9 Revolutions Yuan heavy body refining method, his life gene level had risen from 128 times to 512 times, a 4-fold increase. The first time he cultivated that legacy art, his height hadn't changed. His earlier increases had come from eating the giant god power fruit in the giant god world and from strengthening his body in the nutrient cabin. Now, the third increase came after this second-level cultivation of the legacy method. Li Qi frowned, then eyes widened. Plant life. Could the giant god power fruit have altered his genes, giving him some plant-like characteristics? Before he ate that fruit, his human body had not grown. But his Guyu ancient tree clone, a plant-life form, had gained a 10-fold height increase when its life gene level advanced. The way his body responded now did bear the mark of plant-like changes. He probed further. The life gene rise had not only improved his physical scale, but raised the quality of his genetic primal energy. He summoned a third-order mind energy weapon. With universe-rank mind power controlling it, Li Qi made the conical weapon stab the back of his hand. It flew at supersonic speed and slammed into flesh with the force of a universe-rank strike. Yet, without activating any amplification sigils, the result was a mere white mark and a faint redness that vanished almost instantly. His gigantic hand, larger than a football field, only trembled slightly. This level of resistance to a third-order mind energy weapon without amplification? He muttered, surprised at how tough his skin had become. He tried again, this time activating the amplification patterns. The conical weapon glowed and sliced through the air far faster. The amplified strike pierced the skin on the back of his left hand and sank into the flesh before thick, tough muscle clamped around it. Tiny flesh buds wriggled and knitted in the wound. The injury closed rapidly and soon ejected the weapon. Even with amplification, the third-order weapon had only barely penetrated. Li Qi's mind raced. The wound recovery speed had leapt forward, too. He wondered whether he could get similar quick healing without covering his whole body in genetic primal energy and invoking the source of life ability. He summoned the fifth-order mind energy weapon, Green Vine Pillar, and launched its first form, the Azure Wood Thorn. A green dart pierced the same spot cleanly. Then he wrapped the area in green genetic primal energy and triggered the source of life. The puncture healed in an instant. He flipped his hand over and over, examining it. The wound was tiny, little more than a pinprick at this scale, so it couldn't prove much, but the instant recovery was undeniable. Being able to withstand a third-order mind energy weapon just from a life gene level of 512s, he thought. That doesn't add up. A higher life gene level would certainly make the divine body denser, but it shouldn't be enough to shrug off such damage at Territory Lord rank. He was only Territory Lord 9th Order, not yet a World Lord. If a legacy secret method truly conferred that level of defensive strength, it would be breaking the rules of the primitive mystical region. Then he remembered another factor, the 10 Blood River crystals he had fused. Between the giant god power fruit, a very high life gene level, and the fused Blood River crystals, the combination might explain his newfound toughness. Human main body done. Next, the clone, he decided. Far away in the dark universe, a dark blue F-class spacecraft carved through the void toward the lava starfield. Inside, 6 world lords idly bantered through telepathic links while they each pushed a sliver of consciousness into the virtual universe to stave off boredom. We're really unlucky to get assigned to escort the Qianwu Universe country, one complained. Yeah, I don't know what that Ligu is thinking. How does a simple recruitment mission drag us out here? Another grumbled. That Ligu's arrogant, a third said. Relying on Zhen Yan Marcus's trust to threaten the family of a peerless genius like Li Qi, I don't get his headspace. You'd think only one of the adults, either Zhen Yan Marcus or Zhu Han Marcus, would come, but both turned up. Maybe it's our race showing sincerity. The only two Marquise-level Undyings came together. That should smooth things over. The six of them weren't pleased with the man named Li Gu. He had forced them onto this trip. Meanwhile, in the ship's 3 independent chambers, 2 beds held individuals resting with closed eyes, and the remaining room contained a captive world lord. In the primitive mystical region, on Wu Chen continent, the Guyu ancient tree clone towered 10 kilometers tall and ravenously absorbed plant life cultivation resources. It fed until it advanced to Territory Lord rank First Order. Its mind flickered. Now my human main body's height has exceeded the clone. But after cultivating the legacy secret method to Territory Lord Ninth Order, the clone will grow tenfold. Although the Guyu ancient tree was plant life and had a growth ceiling of 100 kilometers, its special nature limited its size compared to many other forms. Cultivating the 9 Revolutions Yuan heavy body refining method had already raised its life gene level to 128 times, letting it reach 10 kilometers at universe rank. Now, as invisible waves hummed out and the clone's genes evolved, its life gene level climbed steadily. More than 10 days later, the Guyu ancient tree clone finished the 2nd level of the 9 Revolutions method. Its life gene level jumped to 512,000. With that increase came an appetite, a craving to devour life energy. It reached out and pulled in great heaps of cultivation resources as if they were small mountains. Fruits were crushed into powder by countless leaves and devoured. Roots sprouted and writhed like ferocious pythons, bursting from the soil and spreading outward, enlarging and breaking through obstacles. Branches thickened, leaves ballooned. A single leaf, easily larger than a basketball court. Its height rose, 20 kilometers, 30, 40. After consuming nearly all the resources Ice Peak Lord had prepared, the clone matched the human body's cultivation at Territory Lord Ninth Order, and its height soared to 400 kilometers, 40 times its universe rank stature. The height rose 40-fold. Incredible, the Guyu ancient tree clone thought. My human main body also gained height increases from universe rank to Territory Lord rank twice, and its total height multiplied 40-fold. There must be shared characteristics between my human main body and this plant life, otherwise the increases wouldn't match so exactly. The clone's mind power swept over the remains of the provisioning. A high life gene level and such immense size demand astonishing cultivation resources, it observed. What would have sufficed to bring the clone to World Lord Ninth Order has mostly been consumed already at Territory Lord Ninth Order. There may not be enough left to break through to World Lord. This clone is an enormous consumer of points and Hunyuan units. Li Qi retracted his consciousness from the Guyu ancient tree identity and sat cross-legged in his world ring, thinking through plans. After passing the universe rank original Tongqian Mountain, a breakthrough to World Lord rank would grant him 100 million points. Those could be spent to cultivate the Guyu ancient tree to World Lord Ninth Order, but the sum would be largely eaten up. Once he reached World Lord, he would have to train in the outside territory battlefield or the cosmic secret realm. He also wanted to cultivate an undying rank cloud-caressing vine for protection. There were several breakthrough schemes for the vine. The simplest required 6.2 million Hunyuan units with a 100% success rate, but it wouldn't yield the vine he wanted. The optimal plan for the 108 main vines Moyun vine had an 80% success rate and cost 18.1 million points. 18.1 million, he murmured. If I add 11.9 million more, I could exchange for the full God Tree True Understanding. 100 million from the universe rank original Tongqian Mountain sounds like a lot, but it dissipates quickly. If I can pass the Territory Lord rank original Tongqian Mountain, I'll get 3 billion points on breakthrough to World Lord. With that, I'd be much better off. My teacher will also give rewards after passage, and those will be priceless. He fixed his gaze. The territory lord rank original Tongtian Mountain. I will pass it. Tens of thousands of kilometers away, the dark blue F-class ship slipped into the star domain and approached Kuka Star. The 6 world lords gazed at a virtual simulation of the verdant planet and its artificial satellites and began to prepare. Kuka Star has arrived, one said. Notify the 2 adults and the Royce family. Since this is their territory, we should at least greet our hosts, another agreed. If your family had produced a peerless genius like Li Qi, a Marquise-level Undying would probably be polite to you, someone teased. Then the world lords fell silent and set about readying the vessel. At Kuka Star's spaceport control, Gu lay slumped in a chair, resentful. He'd begged to return to the family ancestral land with his admired 11th ancestor, but had been ordered by his great-grandfather to stay and guard the port. Then a stellar worker burst in. Young Master Gu, something's wrong. Gu sat up. What is it? There's a spaceship requesting docking. Gu idly waved a hand. So let it follow normal procedures. The worker stammered, visibly shaken. But, what? Gu snapped, impatient. But that ship is an F-class. Gu's expression shifted. F-class ships were rare. An unannounced F-class calling for entry on family-controlled territory was not a trivial thing. He swung his legs off the chair and stood. Tell the port inspection team to broadcast a hail and show the docking authorization protocols, and send word to the ancestral hall, now. The worker hurried to obey, heart pounding. Outside, the dark blue F-class ship loomed against the void, calm and silent as it waited for permission to cross into Kuka Star's space. Chapter 227, Assassination. An F-grade spaceship? Gu froze when the stellar worker reported it. His mind raced. An E-grade universe ship corresponds to a world lord rank. An F-grade should be for an undying spiritual god, right? No, wait. Undying spiritual gods had visited before and used only E-grade ships. An F-grade? This changed everything. Activate the highest reception protocol. Prepare to welcome that F-grade vessel, Gu ordered. He opened his communicator and sent the alert to his great-grandfather, 14 Crete Royce, who was on Kuka Star, the Royce family's ancestral world. What? An F-grade ship? 14's face creased with surprise. Receive them under the highest protocol. I'll notify 11 Brother immediately. He cut the call, flashed out of his tent, and streaked toward a newly raised pavilion. 11 Brother, an F-grade ship has docked at the spaceport outside the planet. Li Qi was cultivating a secret technique and kept only a faint thread of consciousness, but those words pricked him awake. The moment his eyes opened, he murmured, an F-grade ship, probably a Marquise-level Undying from the Luo Jia clan. Ordinary immortal military lords rarely built F-grade ships. Those alloys cost far too much. Even a cheap alloy vessel could cost 10,000 Hunyuan units. Few immortal military lords would sink everything into one ship. For a Marquise-level Undying, however, wealth flowed faster, and status provided channels to acquire F-grade materials, making construction easy. Li Qi rose and left his tent. Inform grandfather and my father that I will receive the undying spiritual god from the Luojia clan, he told 14. They decided they would refuse whatever terms the Luojia clan proposed and handed the matter to Li Qi to handle personally. 14 nodded and hurried off to relay the orders. Miao Li, Li Qi called. With a faint crackle of electricity, Miao Li appeared beside him, clad in dark blue battle armor. The white-maned wolfmen bowed respectfully. Your Highness. The Marquise-level Undying of the Luojia clan has arrived, Li Qi said. We'll go to the spaceport. Yes. Miao Li touched his forehead in salute and used his eternal divine power to carry Li Qi into the sky. Outside Kuka Star at the spaceport, a dark blue F-grade vessel slid into the docking bay. The hatch clicked open. 6 world lords floated out first, then an undying spiritual god whose pressure made the air feel thin. Marquis Zhuhan, the 6 world lords intoned. Tianyi Hao, Marquis Tianyi, someone called in equal formality. Marquis Zhuhan wore dark blue battle armor. Young and handsome, his face remained expressionless. His pupils were vertical like many in the Royce family, and a terrifying icy pressure radiated off him. Beside him stood a middle-aged man in dark gray armor, smiling faintly, but his presence was also unmistakably that of an undying spiritual god. This is the homeworld of Li Qi, the peerless genius of the Luo Jia clan, the middle-aged undying, Marquis Tianyi said, glancing toward the distant green planet. an ordinary planet on the surface. Ordinary until someone like Li Qi is born, Marquis Zhuhan replied coolly. Tianyi's smile tightened inwardly. He had hoped this trip would give him the opportunity he craved. Now it was complicated. At the spaceport's casual bar, a young man in plain clothes waited, absently polishing a wineglass. He paused when he heard the arrival, two Marquis-level undying, and then went on as if nothing had happened, blending oddly with the hum of conversation. No one seemed to notice him. Gu had already led the spaceport staff out to greet the arrivals. At first sight of the two undying spiritual gods and their entourage, everyone bowed. Marquis Zhuhan stepped forward. I am Marquis Zhuhan of the Luojia clan. We have come to meet the clan chief of the Royce family. Please wait. I will inform the clan elders, Gu said, bowing. Please come this way. Anton and Rux returned to the ship and watch Li Gu, Marquis Zhuhan ordered two of the world lords. Yes. Anton and Rux drifted back to the dark blue vessel. With a ripple of world power, the F-grade ship folded into Marquis Zhuhan's world ring. As they walked toward the spaceport lounge, a thin blue streak of light cut through the distance. In an instant, it was before them. Li Qi and Miao Li had arrived. Electric sparks danced across Zhuhan's armor. The white-maned wolfmen towered over 3 meters, exuding deadly pressure that turned heads. Spectators who had been lingering at the spaceport murmured in awe. 6 world lords and now 3 undying spiritual gods in one place. It was a sight rarely seen in a lifetime. Marquis Zhuhan and Marquis Tianyi took no notice of Miao Li's intimidating presence, their attention fixed on the young man ahead of him. Zhuhan had seen the footage of Li Qi challenging the heavenly bridge. He knew who stood there. Tianyi's face, however, broke into a flash of raw excitement and then venomous fury. If he had been alone, if Marquis Zhuhan hadn't come, Tianyi might have had a near-certain chance to kill or soul-enslave Li Qi. Now, protected by this Marquis Zhuhan and the fierce guardian Miao Li, the task would be far more difficult. A soul attack, even if it pierced divine power, would be weakened. Li Qi had been cultivated with countless precious resources. He was far from an easy target. Tianyi's thought speed was like a quantum computer. The instant Li Qi stepped forward, he made a decision. Teleport the soul-enslaved servant his master had left in Tianyi's divine kingdom, or teleport Li Qi directly into that divine kingdom. As Marquis Zhuhan stepped forward to greet Li Qi, he sensed a powerful law fluctuation beside Tianyi. Light burst from the middle-aged man's body and spread in an instant across several kilometers, covering Li Qi and the group. A divine kingdom teleportation! Marquis Zhuhan's expression hardened. Tianyi had chosen the precise moment to activate a divine kingdom translocation when Li Qi was present. It all clicked into place for Zhuhan. Why had Tianyi applied to come to the Qianwu universe country? Why had Li Gu caused trouble? Why had Tianyi attached himself to this mission? The only plausible conclusion was ugly and simple. Tianyi intended to assassinate the peerless human genius, Li Qi. Tianyi has been soul-enslaved, Marquis Zhuhan thought. He must be harboring a foreign race expert in his divine kingdom, perhaps even a champion-level undying. I cannot allow this teleportation to complete, nor let Li Qi be dragged into that divine kingdom. He acted at once. Eternal divine power flared. Zhuhan did not draw a weapon. He struck Tianyi with a single palm, and at the same time transmitted a terse order to Miao Li. Take His Highness Li Qi and go! Miao Li, who led the guard unit for the primitive mystical region members, had ample experience protecting principals. The moment he registered the divine kingdom teleportation, he felt the danger. He seized Li Qi with a burst of eternal divine power and drew them both backward. Someone's voice crackled across the short distance, the middle-aged undyings. Then Marquis Zhuhan's assault ripped through the air. A terrifying law energy erupted where Zhuhan's fist connected. Space itself split, shockwaves fanned out. Ships below E-grade were shredded as easily as paper. Debris and bodies were hurled and smashed. Some unfortunate onlookers were killed outright by the explosive force. Zhuhan's palm, lit by eternal divine power, shattered Tianyi's divine body. But Tianyi was a first-order Marquis-level immortal with an undying body. His divine form healed almost immediately. He managed to force open a spatial tunnel in the shuddering space, though Zhuhan's attack had weakened his control over the teleportation's range. That loss of control allowed Miao Li to draw Li Qi beyond the spatial tunnel's edge. Tian Yi completed the Divine Kingdom teleportation against the odds. Light poured out across several kilometers. From within that blazing corridor emerged a black serpent more than a kilometer long. Scales dim and dull covered its body. A cold, dark horn sprouted from its head. Its arrival cast an oppressive aura that made every nearby being's heart sink. Marquis Zhuhan and Miao Li both inhaled sharply. "A foreign race champion-level undying," they shouted together. Tian Yi's voice crackled. "That wolfman undying is taking no point too." The black serpent, the unicorn black snake, fixed its vast, icy eyes on Miao Li as he fled with Li Qi and instantly lunged. It moved like a bolt of shadow, accelerating toward near light speed in an instant, closing the distance with terrifying swiftness. "My speed, too slow." Miao Li cursed aloud, forcing every ounce of power into acceleration. He had a head start, but as only a Hao-level peak stage immortal military lord, it took him time to approach light speed. The black serpent had no such delay. "He'll catch us in 2 seconds." The champion-level Undying's killing intent was cold and overwhelming. Miao Li felt a prickle of fear at the creature's ferocity and speed. He pushed his body and powers to the limit for the sake of his highness. Li Qi, his face taut with anger and alarm, shoved Gu into his world ring to keep him from being crushed in the aftermath. He struggled to remain clear-headed as the chase unfolded behind them. The fate of the planet and the intentions of the Luo Jia clan suddenly revealed in the shards of space and power around them. As the unicorn black snake closed in, the sky seared with light, and the stage was set for yet another impossible battle, one that had been orchestrated by hidden hands long before the two Undying had reached the spaceport. Chapter 228, Self-Destruct. Miao Li, still chasing Li Qi, suddenly watched the unicorn black snake fly backward. A 1-meter battle mace had appeared out of thin air and struck him. The space around them twisted, a terrifying surge of power followed. Boom! The blow carried immense force and shattered the area of the Black Snake King's body where it hit. Dust and debris scattered through the surrounding starry void. That single strike cost the unicorn Black Snake 2% of his divine body. The Black Snake King fixed his gaze and saw a human in casual clothes standing at the spot he had been pursuing. The young man was over 2 meters tall, plain-looking, and held a 1-meter dark red battle mace. Though the weapon radiated terrifying power, the man's aura was oddly calm, no oppressive presence of an Undying. A faint smile played on his lips. Only a careful observer would notice the monstrous eternal divine power coiled inside him. Power far purer than that of the unicorn black snake, who had arrived by divine kingdom teleportation. Teleportation, the unicorn black snake said through grim shock. The 3 great profundities of the space origin law: instant, seal, kill. Anyone who masters one of those profundities has reached the 20th level of the heavenly bridge. An Undying who can comprehend even one profundity is at least a high-level Feng Wang, king-level, Undying. With further cultivation, they normally reach peak king title. In short, mastery of a profundity is effectively equivalent to a peak king title Undying. "I didn't expect the unicorn black snake race to produce a king-level first-class Undying. That's rare," the young man said, staring at him. "You're Zhen King." The Black Snake King rasped after studying the stranger and matching him to memory. Zhen King, an old general under the Qianwu country lord, infamous on the outside territory battlefield, chuckled. "I haven't been active out there in a long time. I didn't expect a newly promoted king-level first class to still recognize me. You are a peak king title expert. I concede," the Black Snake King admitted in a hoarse voice. "But this is Li Qi's home, one of your human race's geniuses." "You're going to self-destruct?" Zhen King asked with a half-smile. "Don't you even look at where this is?" Black Snake King's gaze swept the area and realized they were in a strange, endless void. "You teleported me," he snarled. "You set the battlefield. You must have been waiting at Li Qi's home all along, or you wouldn't have prepared this." "Now you can go ahead and self-destruct," Zhen King said, making a gesture of invitation. "You're not qualified to consume my eternal divine power." Black Snake King's plan to force Zhen King to rescue Li Qi's home by self-destructing had failed. He no longer hesitated. He burned eternal divine power, his body shaking, and leapt forward like a streak of light. As a soul servant, he followed his master's orders. Assassinate the human race genius. If the assassination failed, consume the eternal divine power of the human race's experts. The eternal divine power of an undying is extremely precious. The stronger the expert, the more valuable the divine power. Divine power is fused with soul. Losing it is losing a piece of the soul. Lose enough, and the undying strength falls. If the divine body dips to 5%, the undying falls into a deep sleep to recover. That's better. Qijian King's smile brightened as the Black Snake King charged. He swung his dark red battle mace and met the attacker head-on. Meanwhile, disappeared. That alien king-level undying disappeared. Miao Li halted his flight and looked back at the empty starless sky where the unicorn black snake had been. A strange chill ran down his spine. Li Qi glanced around, then relaxed and nodded. He disappeared. Recalling the spatial fluctuations behind them, Li Qi guessed aloud, "Someone from our human race must have intervened and taken that alien king-level undying away." An expert from our side interfered, Miao Li said, sudden comprehension dawning. "Your Highness, what do we do now?" "Return to Kuka Star," Li Qi ordered. He produced a dark red prismatic universe ship. This Dark Qi is a top-tier F-class ship. Even a Marquise-level undying can't destroy it. "Your Highness is worried about Kuka Star's safety?" Miao Li asked as they boarded. Li Qi's voice grew heavy. "Kuka Star is just an ordinary planet. Even modified, it can't withstand the attack of 2 Marquise-level undyings from the Luojia clan. My parents are still there. If it's Kuka Star's problem, I don't think you need to worry too much," Miao Li said. "Those 2 Marquise-level undyings from the Luojia clan aren't all alien spies. If not for Marquis Zhuhan's help, we might already have been dragged into the Divine Kingdom." Li Qi shivered at the memory of the sudden Divine Kingdom teleportation. The assassination had come too fast. Without Miao Li and Marquis Zhuhan's assistance, he might have been taken into the Divine Kingdom. Once dragged in, he'd only be able to commit suicide at great cost to resurrect via his distant Guyu ancient tree clone in the primitive mystical region. Tian Yiho was likely soul-enslaved by an alien race maybe long ago, Li Qi said darkly. The alien races are everywhere. Miao Li nodded. It's difficult to detect someone who's been soul-enslaved unless screened by a powerful expert. Go, back to Kuka Star. The Dark Qi sped toward Kuka Star. Out in the space above Kuka Star, what had once been a bustling transfer spaceport, docked ships, merchants, trade, now lay in ruins. Thousands of universe ships had been destroyed, cargoes scattered, merchants reduced to bloody pulp by the aftermath of the battle. You want to self-destruct here and destroy Li Qi's home? Tian Yihao, have you gone mad from being soul-enslaved? Marquis Zhuhan shouted. He held an ice-blue battle saber, whose blade hummed with space origin law fluctuations, and slashed at Tian Yihao. Tian Yihao was in a desperate state. Facing the strike of a peak Hao-level undying like Marquis Zhuhan, he could only barely resist. His armor was scarred. His divine body had lost over 31%. His strength less than half of his peak. His aura greatly diminished. Marquis Zhuhan, you deserve to die. You deserve to die. Tian Yiho roared. He had finally gotten an opportunity to complete his master's mission, but Marquis Zhuhan had ruined it by tailing him. Unable to finish the assassination or escape human territory, he chose to destroy Li Qi's home instead, hoping it would crush Li Qi's spirit and stunt his future. But even that plan was blocked by Marquis Zhuhan, who kept forcing him away from Kuka Star. Die! Let's all die together, Tian Yihao screamed. Explode! 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 The remaining 68% of his divine body flared into a blinding orb of light, like a newborn supernova. Boom. As a first-order Marcus-level immortal, Tian Yihao's self-destruction caused the surrounding universe to rupture. Dark cracks peeled across space before healing under primordial universe rules. The shockwave blasted outward. Dazzling light incinerated anything not sufficiently hardened. The already battered spaceport was completely annihilated. Even the modified Kuka Star, despite its planetary defense system, shook violently from the aftershock. Inside Kuka Star, long-standing buildings collapsed. Some apprentice-level residents died from falling rubble and the shockwave. In Royce family territory, the invisible shockwave slammed through the ground and everyone was thrown from tents. People gathered in the air to assess the damage. 11 left not long ago, and this happened. Could something have happened to 11? Wen Ni asked. Not sure, Delacour replied. Maybe an earthquake. That thought went unspoken by many present, but everyone had the same apprehension. Royce barked an order. 14. Organize teams to rescue the cities. Yes. 14 launched toward the nearest Kaoguang city. As he flew, he took in the devastation. Kuka Star had never seen disaster like this. Ancient buildings couldn't withstand the sudden violence. Screams filled the air. Save them! Hurry! Survivors at planetary or astral rank flew up to oversee rescue efforts. Those able hurried to help the trapped and injured. In the space battlefield, when Tianyihao self-destructed, Marquis Zhuhan bolted toward Kuka Star, fighting off the explosion's aftershocks. He had spent the fight trying to push Tianyihao away from the planet, but a First-Order Marcus's 68% self-detonation was far too powerful and not that far from Kuka Star. The planet took a heavy hit. Even so, its Virtual Universe Corporation modifications allowed it to survive, though the surface and buildings were wrecked and the green globe trembled. This is bad, Marquis Zhuhan muttered. He had come to Kuka Star to mend the rift between the Luojia clan and the Royce family and to get the troublesome World Lord to explain things. Now, this disaster complicated everything. His clan's Marcus-level Undying had tried to assassinate Li Qi and had even used Divine Kingdom teleportation to insert an alien champion, a king-level Undying, into the plan. That was beyond his power to handle. I hope Li Qi is okay, he said, casting a worried glance at the trembling planet. But facing an alien king-level Undying's pursuit, his chances are slim. He had seen Li Qi's guard flee and estimated the boy's strength at Immortal Military Lord Peak. Even with a head start, an Immortal Military Lord Peak couldn't outrun a king-level Undying. The flying speed of a king-level made escape nearly impossible. Saving Li Qi's home means nothing if the boy himself is dead, Marquis Zhuhan said gravely. We have to report this to the Old Ancestor immediately. The Luojia clan had only one Old Ancestor, the clan's sole king-level Undying. He paused mid-message. No, he said to himself, thinking. If that alien king-level Undying succeeded in killing Li Qi, why didn't he leave? Did he use Tianyihao's Divine Kingdom teleportation? Divine Kingdom teleportation needs an open spatial channel. The fluctuations don't subside instantly. Even if the alien champion escaped through the Divine Kingdom's coordinates wouldn't change quickly. As long as those coordinates stayed put, human experts could lock onto that champion through the spatial disturbances. In other words, the champion couldn't vanish so easily. If I were him, after finishing the assassination, I'd leave through Tianyihao's Divine Kingdom teleportation. Even if exposed, it'd trace back to Tianyihao's coordinates. That thought eased him somewhat. If Li Qi is still alive, we can still salvage things. The Luojia clan's position will improve if he survives and gets some credit. Marquis Zhuhan knew the Virtual Universe Corporation would investigate and purge the clan now that a Marcus in their ranks had been soul enslaved. That was unavoidable. But if Li Qi lived and played a role in stopping the attack, the fallout would be less severe for the Luojia clan. Li Qi, I hope you're all right, he murmured. Chapter 229, King Hongji. Inside the world ring that served as his avatar's shelter, Li Qi, now reduced to just over 100 meters tall, looked down at Gu, who lay on the ground. The Tier 3 force armor Gu wore remained intact, but his face was smeared with blood. If I hadn't pulled him into the world ring in time, Li Qi thought. With an astral rank body, even Miao Li's eternal divine power wouldn't have kept him from being shredded at those speeds. Li Qi considered the facts. To traverse the universe in one's physical body required immense physical constitution. Normally, only undying spiritual gods could manage it, because even sublight travel demanded enormous resilience. Some powerful races could do it at World Lord rank. Gu had been fortunate, but the brief high-speed trip had still injured him. Fortunately, Li Qi had cultivation treasures for vegetation that could double as healing aids. Gu stirred, then opened his eyes. What happened? He mumbled, looking around at the empty, unfamiliar space. Where am I? This is my world ring, Li Qi transmitted. Huh? Gu sprang to life at the sound of the voice he revered. Old Ancestor 11. He craned his neck and froze. Above him loomed a vast face, exactly the face of Old Ancestor 11, down to the smallest detail. Shock and disbelief warped Gu's features. Old Ancestor 11, your body. This is my true body, Li Qi sent. Earlier, you saw an avatar I use for moving about. An avatar. Gu blinked, then held back a string of questions about why Li Qi's true form towered so high. Li Qi quickly explained, the true body is inconvenient to move, so I use an avatar instead. Then he asked, how are you feeling now? Gu probed his own condition with spiritual force. His body was whole, but the blood stains told him he had been hurt. He answered honestly, I'm alive, old Ancestor 11, but I did take some damage. That's good to hear. Li Qi nodded, then said, something happened outside. Stay inside the world ring for now. I'll bring you out once I've handled it. Gu agreed, but his curiosity burned. He wondered what had happened and why Li Qi had placed him in the ring. He recalled two undying spiritual gods from the Luo clan visiting. Could they have been involved? Outside Kuka Star, the dark void was cluttered with floating metal and architectural debris. Marquis Zuhan wrapped the area in eternal divine power and spotted a dark red prismatic ship approaching in the distance. Could that be him? He murmured, and sent his divine power to probe the approaching vessel. Ah! Marquis Zuhan thought. A genius like Li Qi was not easy to finish. Even pursued by a champion-class undying, he had survived. Before the probe could fully penetrate, Zuhan sensed Miao Li's aura, proof Li Qi was still alive. He transmitted through eternal divine power. Your Highness Li Qi, I am Marquis Zuhan of the Luo clan. Earlier, after Li Qi reported the assassination attempt to the Virtual Universe Corporation, he ordered his ship to return to Kuka Star. But just as the ship began to depart, an invisible shockwave swept through the area, scattering the dust that hung in the starry sky. Even the vessel's top-tier F-class alloy hull trembled from the force. Li Qi felt the shock reverberate and asked, what was that? Miao Li observed the disturbance in the virtual universe simulation and replied, judging from the affected area, it looks like an undying spiritual god's self-detonation. Self-detonation? The words brought back the memory of the assassination on Giant God Star, a hellscape left by an undying self-sacrifice. If such a thing happened near Kuka Star, could his home withstand it? Panic rushed through Li Qi. Father, mother, grandfather, 14, they're still on Kuka Star. Your Highness, your home is fine. Miao Li tapped the simulation with a finger-like projection and magnified the tiny green planet. Kuka Star appeared intact. Relief loosened the tightness in Li Qi's chest. The Royce family's territory had protective devices. As long as the planet remained whole, the domain tended to be safe. Still, the incident had shaken him. Miao Li, do you think I shouldn't have come back? Li Qi asked. Why would your Highness say that? Miao Li replied. The alien's assassination target was me. If I hadn't returned, would Kuka Star have been safe? The alien race won't cancel plans on Kuka Star just because you don't show up. It's your hometown. They will expect you to return someday. Li Qi smiled wryly. Then I won't come back unless I have to. After this is settled, I'll go to the Qianwu starfield. I won't live on Kuka Star anymore, at least not until I'm strong enough. The near assassination had been a wake-up call. His presence on Kuka Star drew danger to his family and clan. The assassination attempt had been mounted by a Marquis-level undying. A king-level undying, or a nest mind like an undying insect race mother, could devastate a planet. To live safely on Kuka Star long-term, he would need at least champion strength, ideally undying spiritual god power, which would put him among the top of king-level undying and allow him to accumulate toward king undefeated. At undying rank, his life gene level could exceed 8,000 times, comparable to an elementary universe exalt, though he lacked tribulation armor or similar treasures to go much farther. Becoming undying would be difficult, but it was necessary. Your Highness, someone is scanning the ship with eternal divine power, Miao Li warned. Marquis Zuhan's voice entered the ship again. Your Highness Li Qi, I am Marquis Zuhan of the Luo clan. Li Qi ordered the ship to halt and asked bluntly, Marquis Zuhan, why did Tianyi Hao, Marquis Tianyi, try to assassinate me? I am truly sorry for this incident, Marquis Zuhan replied. Tianyi Ho was soul-enslaved by an alien race. I did not expect it. I forced him to self-detonate. He's dead now. You can rest assured. Li Qi understood then. The shockwave had been the remnant of that self-detonation. He knew the idea of Tianyiho being soul-enslaved was plausible. Internal human rivalries could take many forms, but Tianyiho was not just any genius. He was a prodigy-level talent, rare across eras, and a personal disciple of a universe lord. Few would dare move against him and risk a universe lord's ire. This can't be concluded yet, Li Qi said coldly. Soul enslavement or not, we'll see. Marquis Zhuhan hurried to explain. Tianyiho and I came to Kuka Star to explain why our clan's world lord caused trouble for and threatened the Royce family's chief. To show our sincerity, we even detained that world lord. Zhuhan continued. At the time, I couldn't understand why that world lord acted as he did. Now it seems highly likely Tianyiho was manipulated, and Tianyiho himself requested to come to the Qianwu universe country to offer apologies. Li Qi considered for a moment, then asked, if Tianyiho voluntarily requested it, why did you come along? I came under orders from our clan's old ancestor, King Hongji, Marquis Zhuhan said. He wanted me to invite the Royce family to become one of the main branches of the Luo Jia clan. Li Qi answered firmly. The Royce family carries the Luo Jia bloodline, but we will not join the Luo Jia clan. The Royce family is unique. That is your family's decision. I will report it to the old ancestor. Marquis Zhuhan hesitated and then asked, could you hold off reporting this assassination to the Virtual Universe Corporation for now? I've already reported it, Li Qi said. The Virtual Universe Corporation will decide the outcome. Marquis Zhuhan's face fell. He had feared this. If the corporation got involved, the Luo Jia clan could suffer major consequences. Please wait a moment, he said. I'll report Tianyiho's assassination of your highness to our old ancestor, King Hongji. Miao Li's projection buzzed urgently in Li Qi's mind. Your highness, King Hongji is not ordinary. Oh, Li Qi asked. I once overheard a Marquis-level Undying say King Hongji is an ancient king-level Undying and maintains a close relationship with our clan's saint ancestor, Miao Li replied. Your clan's saint ancestor? Li Qi felt a sudden recognition. It's Zhu Feng Honored One, the strongest of our werewolf branch, Miao Li said with pride. Zhu Feng Honored One is an overlord among universe exalts. That's why our werewolf race is a powerful branch within the human races. Hearing the name jogged Li Qi's memory. Zhu Feng Honored One was an overlord-level expert in the original records. He had received the full legacy of the Elder God cult's wind-catching god general and had once saved Luo Feng. A king-level Undying allied to an overlord-level warrior, such a connection carried weight. In the virtual universe's Thunder Island, inside an ancient palace, Marquis Zhuhan's consciousness entered, and he went straight to King Hongji's hall. Deep in the palace, he bowed to the figure on the throne. Old ancestor. The ancient being on the throne opened his eyes a fraction. His vertical pupils were half-lidded. He was over 4 meters tall, his face that of a handsome young man, tempered by an expression of age, as if he were ancient and weary. What is it? He asked. Marquis Zhuhan reported gravely. Tianyiho was soul enslaved by an alien race. King Hongji sighed softly. Soul enslavement, Old ancestor. Zhuhan rushed on. Under the enslavement, he used God Kingdom teleportation and brought a king-level Undying to assassinate Li Qi. King Hongji raised a hand to stop him. Did Li Qi fall? No. Though the king-level Undying pursued him, Li Qi survived, Marquis Zhuhan said. If he's alive, it's easy to deal with. King Hongji sounded distracted. Is he unwilling to join our Luo Jia clan? Yes. Marquis Zhuhan nodded. Then leave it be. King Hongji shook his head, closed his eyes, and seemed to dismiss the matter. Marquis Zhuhan pressed, Old ancestor, the assassination has already been reported to the Virtual Universe Corporation, and it will have a big impact on our clan, perhaps. Do what must be done. King Hongji's voice was soft, even with his eyes closed. The Virtual Universe Corporation's higher-ups will handle it. Marquis Zhuhan swallowed and tried one last appeal. What shall we do about Li Qi himself? Give him 1 million Hunyuan units as compensation, King Hongji said, indifferent. That's all? Zhuhan asked, stunned. That's all. King Hongji's tone brooked no argument. You may go. Marquis Zhuhan bowed and left the hall, the weight of the old ancestor's indifference heavy on him. As he departed, a long, quiet sigh seemed to echo through the palace corridors. It's already the 11th one. Kuka Star, several light-years distant. Wreckage drifted through the endless void, and amid a sparse field of broken metal stood a young man in plain clothes. He held a dark red war halberd in his right hand and a world ring in his left. A deep, potent aura rolled off him. He was none other than Zhen King, a king-level undying in service to the Qianwu country lord. Soul enslavement. Always such a pity, Zhen King murmured, turning the world ring over in his hand. Still, at least there are contribution points. Without them, these spoils wouldn't cover the divine power I lost. He had learned that the Black Snake King had been enslaved by an insect race powerhouse, so Zhen King had refused to burn his eternal divine power for a quick finish. A king-rank undying killing a first-class undying at peak rank normally couldn't guarantee an instant kill without spending divine power. In dangerous zones like the outside territory battlefield, burning eternal divine power would be the sensible choice. Longer fights invite unpredictable variables. But here, deep in human territory within the Qianwu universe country, it was safe. He could take his time. A king-level first-class undying assassination, he said softly to himself. If this had been arranged, it would be a disgrace to the rare prodigy-level genius the human race produces every tens of millions of eras. No, this was a sudden attempt. It's time to return. He glanced off into space. There's a Hao-level peak undying from the Luo Jia clan protecting him, but best to get back quickly before other races take advantage. Outside Kuka Star, at the former spaceport Starfield, the debris of countless structures floated in ruin. A sweep of force had cleared a patch of open void where, wrapped in the dark chi, Li Qi waited for Zhuhan Marquise's reply from a starfield nearby. From the sliver of separated consciousness he'd kept on hand, he'd learned how Old Ancestor had handled the assassination. Zhuhan Marquise had hesitated at first, but ultimately followed Old Ancestor's plan, adding only a few extra compensation conditions. Your Highness Li Qi, Zhuhan transmitted, regarding Zhen Marcus's soul enslavement and the assassination attempt on you, our clan will compensate you with 1 million Hunyuan units. When your family develops in the Yuan Chen universe country, our clan will also provide certain conveniences and support. 1 million Hunyuan units and certain resource support. Li Qi considered the offer and found it acceptable. Before he could reply, a voice slipped into his mind. The Luojia clan is not simple, the voice said smoothly. If their compensation isn't insulting, I suggest you accept. Li Qi tensed slightly. Who is this? The voice carried a faint smile. I am Zhen King, serving under the Qianwu country lord. Zhen King? Li Qi began to separate a trace of consciousness to verify the information, but the voice continued before he could. First, accept the Luojia clan's terms. I have no interest in deceiving you. All right. Li Qi nodded in his mind and sent his agreement. He'd already decided the compensation was fair. On Giant God Star, when he'd been assassinated before, King Suimi of the Giant God race had also offered him 1 million Hunyuan units in apology, but that came with the backing of a Universe Overlord rank powerhouse. This was different in status, but the money was the same. I have received the Luojia clan's sincerity, Li Qi transmitted to Zhuhan Marquise. The matter of the assassination is concluded. Your Highness, please give me a bank account and I will transfer 1 million Hunyuan units now, Zhuhan replied. Li Qi sent an account and soon received the transfer. A moment later, a ripple of space law brushed the wreckage like a breeze over a pond. A young man in casual clothes materialized between them. This is, Li Qi started, recognizing the signature of teleportation. Having mastered all 108 essences of the space origin law and reached the 12th heavenly bridge, with a strong affinity for space origin law, Li Qi could pick up that faint fluctuation immediately. The newcomer bowed slightly and announced, I am Zhen King, serving under the Qianwu country lord. He is Zhen King. Zhuhan and the others reacted with restraint and respect. A king-level undying, the famous Zhen King. They bowed and offered formal greetings. Zhen King, Zhuhan said, Li Qi is under my protection now. Zhen King addressed Zhuhan. You can return to the Yuan Chen universe country to deal with clan matters. Give my regards to King Hongxi. Thank you, Zhen King. Zhuhan bowed and set off at speed for the distant starfield. With a Marquise-level undying enslaved in his clan, he had to hurry. Unlike the 9 who'd gone with him, he was returning alone. Fortunately, 3 World Lord ranks remained in his world ring, who who hadn't been expelled by the enslaved Marcus's self-destruct, or they would have died. When Juhan left, Qijian King turned to Li Qi. Li Qi. Present, Li Qi replied. I'm currently stationed at the lava starfield by order of the country lord, Qijian King said. You will be under my protection until the Virtual Universe Corporation issues higher-level orders. Thank you, Qijian King. Li Qi thanked him. Qijian King's expression grew serious. I must warn you, other races will not give up because of today's failed assassination. The attempts against you will only become more dangerous. Though the human race sends protectors for prodigies like you, protection has limits. Many geniuses have died even under the watch of champion powerhouses. They cannot guard you forever. Li Qi understood. Being sent out as a territory lord-ranked genius was both an honor and a test from human race leadership to draw out enemy spies embedded in the human race. It was like two parties each raising fish in their own pond, then trying to lure the others fry and kill them. Li Qi had accepted his role as bait, but the assassination had come so suddenly and so close to his home that it had unbalanced him. I'll give you a suggestion, Qijian King went on. Learn to endure loneliness. Endure loneliness? Li Qi realized what the king meant and felt the truth of it. Yes, loneliness. Assassins of other races are ruthless. You might dodge some attacks thanks to powerful protectors, but can you guarantee the assaults won't affect others? No, until you become a true powerhouse, don't return to your hometown recklessly, otherwise it could be like this time. He paused, then added, It's just a suggestion. Think carefully. Don't let a single rash decision haunt you for life. Li Qi did not hesitate. Thank you, Qijian King. I plan to depart for the Qianwu starfield. He had already decided that unless absolutely necessary, he would not return to Kuka Star until he became truly powerful. The virtual universe could simulate nearly everything. If he missed his family, he could meet them there. Real-world visits would only put his family in danger. Good. Qijian King nodded with approval. Given Li Qi's age, under 700, Qijian King had expected him to struggle with the choice. When will you leave? You can still see your family one last time. Li Qi glanced toward Kuka Star, its green disk obscured by floating wreckage, and surprised the king by answering simply, Now. Qijian King was taken aback. By all accounts, Li Qi cherished his family and might have paused to reunite. Li Qi then spoke softly. Miao Li, send Gu back to Kuka Star. World fluctuations flared. Gu, still bloody, was released. Miao Li answered, Yes, Your Highness. With a sweep of eternal divine power, Miao Li wrapped Gu and bore him toward Kuka Star, modulating speed for Gu's endurance. The deep blue lightning that trailed them incinerated drifting metal as it passed. Your Highness, I've already sent that little fellow away, Miao Li reported, and then withdrew. Li Qi watched the direction of Kuka Star in thoughtful silence. A silver-white, sword-shaped universe ship the length of over 60 meters blinked into existence, an aged, weathered aura radiating from its strange metal shell etched with hardened law patterns. Let's depart for the Qianwu starfield, Qijian King said. A ripple in space law, and the three of them shifted. The next instant, they stood within the ship's luxurious cabin. We'll take this universe ship to the Qianwu starfield, Qijian King said. During the voyage, find cabins to rest. Li Qi nodded and found his own cabin. Virtual universe, Molten Rock Island. In a large villa, his mother Wenni fretted. 11, you only just came back. Why are you in such a hurry to go again? Mother, even if I'm not in the real world, we can still meet in the virtual universe, Li Qi soothed. I'll be back there. Is something urgent? You didn't even come by to say farewell? Wenni asked. With an undying spiritual god stronger than Miao Li accompanying me, I shouldn't keep him waiting, Li Qi explained. Also, I've been the Qianwu Universe country's monitoring special envoy for a long time. It's time to take on something new. All right. Wenni finally relented. Your father might have something to say. Go speak with him. Goodbye, Mother. Li Qi nodded, then teleported away. In another villa on Molten Rock Island, Grandfather Royce, Father Derek, and sixth Uncle Garabel sat on a sofa discussing the spaceport's destruction. Derek said, Kuka Star's spaceport was totally destroyed. Even the planetary defense system was damaged. We don't know what caused that sudden detonation. Garabel frowned. I checked the spaceport surveillance. I found nothing abnormal. Li Qi arrived and interrupted. That's normal. Because I deleted the surveillance footage. Deleted? Derek asked. 11. What happened at the spaceport? Seventh brother, don't press it, Garabel cut in. If 11 deleted it, there's a reason. If it was something we should see, he wouldn't have removed it. Roy's family will take full responsibility for compensation of personnel and goods lost at the spaceport, Lychee said. Do we have the funds? We have enough. Garabel rubbed his temples. Compensation is the small part, under 1 Hunyuan unit. The real cost is repairing the planetary defense system and rebuilding planetary transformations and reinforcements. After that explosion, Kuka Star's population has fallen sharply. Preliminary figures show over 1 million dead. Garabel's voice was heavy, but none of our direct family members were among the casualties. Over 1 million. Lychee's heart sank. That was the best possible outcome given the circumstances. Kuka Star had undergone planetary transformation, had defenses, and most of the population had migrated off-world. Otherwise, the death toll could have been in the hundreds of millions. I'll transfer 10,000 Hunyuan units to your account, sixth uncle, Lychee said in a low voice. Kuka Star needs more advanced transformation and upgrades to its planetary defense system. Garabel blanched. 10,000 Hunyuan units? Isn't that far too much? Their team's maximum operating capital was barely over 200 Hunyuan units. 10,000 far exceeded their normal scope. Upgrading the planetary defenses and transforming the planet will cost that much, and more, Lychee replied. It's not too much. He would have injected more if the family had the resources. Garabel nodded, still stunned. Lychee was about to speak again when his expression shifted, abruptly serious. Grandfather, you handle the affairs of Kuka Star. I have an urgent matter to deal with. Virtual Universe, Yuxiang Mountain Primal Zone, Manor number 111. The highest point mission? It's already here? Lychee stared at the light screen before him. In Universe Common Script, it displayed the highest point mission's overview. It was for primitive mystical region members of Territory Lord rank, and was divided into 4 stages. Stage 1 could award up to 500,000 points, Stage 2 up to 1,000,000, Stage 3 up to 1,500,000, Stage 4 up to 2,000,000. There was an additional reward after all 4 stages. Depending on overall performance, the Virtual Universe Corporation could grant anywhere from 0 to 5,000,000 extra points. In total, the whole highest point mission, the 4-stage base points plus the final bonus, could yield as many as 10,000,000 points. A warning blinked on the screen. Each stage awarded points based on completion, and Stage 1 had to reach at least 80% completion to proceed to Stage 2. If Stage 1's completion rate fell below 80%, the mission would terminate immediately. For example, if Stage 1 were completed at 70%, the mission would end there and only 350,000 points would be awarded. 10 million points. Lychee's eyes brightened. I heard the rewards for Territory Lord rank highest point missions depend on the secret realm and your past performance at Universe rank. He remembered that when he was at Universe rank, he had passed the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge and cleared original Tongtian Mountain, which had pushed his highest point mission reward to the absolute maximum, 10 million points. Even if I only get half of that, it will be enough to stop worrying about points at Territory Lord rank. He tapped the screen. To redeem secret techniques, I'll need a lot of points. This mission has to be done properly. He scrolled to the Stage 1 entry and opened it. The screen explained Stage 1 in detail. Origin of the incident. In Yuan Chen Universe, country's Purple Bee Star region, a family named Takur operates under the cover of legitimate commerce, but carries out numerous illegal dark activities and acts betraying the human race. Mission overview. Eliminate every member of the Takur family, including 1 undying spiritual god, 14 world lords, 232 territory lords, and 80 million people in total. Mission details. 1. Eliminate Abba Du Takur, champion-level undying spiritual god. Completion plus 20%, failure minus 20%. 2. Eliminate 80 million Takur family members at universe rank and below. Completion 10%. If even one is left alive, the submission is judged a failure. No penalty for failure. 3. Eliminate all Takur family world lords and territory lords. Completion plus 10%. If even one is left alive, the submission is judged a failure. failure minus 10% completion. 4. Personally eliminate target Sax, World Lord Stage 2, completion 10%, no penalty for failure. 5. Personally eliminate target Sai Luo, World Lord Stage 3, completion 15%, no penalty for failure. 6. Personally eliminate target Anna, World Lord Stage 4, completion 20%, no penalty for failure. 7. Personally eliminate target Wola Wei, World Lord Stage 5, completion plus 25%, no penalty for failure. Available resources: 1. Yuan Chen Universe Country 6th Army Group. 2. Golden Horn Race Wolf Action Team. 3. Virtual Universe Corporation Intelligence System Mission. Duration 1 year. Any submissions not completed by the deadline are considered failures. Mission reward: total completion percentage multiplied by 500,000 as the final reward points. Mission acceptor: Li Qi. Warning: when acting against the Takur family, no resources other than those listed above may be used. Otherwise, the highest point mission will be terminated. Yuan Chen Universe Country? Li Qi frowned. I'm a supervisory envoy from Qianwu Universe Country. Why am I being sent to Yuan Chen? And we're allowed to mobilize an army. He studied the objectives. If I complete everything in Stage 1, I can reach 110% completion. The individual completion bonuses did indeed add up to 110%. The risky one is the second submission. Eliminating 80 million people scattered across star systems and galaxies, even with the 6th Army's help, it won't be easy. He thought it through. Luckily, if Mission 2 fails, the penalty is none, and only the third mission carries a penalty of minus 10% if I miss someone. If I can finish the others, I can still hit 100%. 100% would yield the full 500,000 points for Stage 1, a meaningful sum. Besides Mission 2, the other tasks, especially the personal eliminations, were straightforward for him. Defeating an ordinary World Lord Stage 5 was well within his power. He resolved to secure 100% completion. He paused at the second available resource. Golden Horn Race? Li Qi's eyebrows rose. Are they vassals of the human race now? He suspected it wasn't coincidence that Golden Horn operatives appeared on the resource list. The Virtual Universe Corporation's higher-ups likely arranged it for him. As a prodigy who had already shown talent on the Beast God path, it was only natural the corporation would match him with experts skilled in that path. The final warning nagged at him. No resources beyond those listed could be used. Li Qi wondered what the corporation might be hinting at. Were there hidden resources in Yuan Chen Universe Country he could call upon? Then it hit him. The Luojia clan was in Yuan Chen Universe Country. What were the higher-ups up to? Before he could dwell on it further, a call request came through. Qianwu Universe Country, Lava Starfield, a silver-white sword-shaped universe ship sliced through the dark. In its cabin, Zhen King stared at the email on his screen and frowned. What do the Virtual Universe Corporation higher-ups mean by protecting Li Qi to Yuan Chen Universe Country? He muttered. He's a supervisory envoy of Qianwu Universe Country. Why send him to Yuan Chen? He had to obey orders, though. Contact Li Qi. Let's go to Yuan Chen Universe Country, he told his ship's AI. Back aboard the Primordial Universe ship, Li Qi accepted Zhen King's call. The young man's image flickered onto the light screen. Zhen King, Li Qi greeted, lowering his head a little. Li Qi, did you get the Virtual Universe Corporation's email ordering you to Yuan Chen Universe Country? Zhen King asked. Yes, Li Qi replied. Did you receive the same notice? I did, Zhen King said. They ordered me to protect you on the trip. Protect me? Li Qi blinked in surprise. Normally, a core member of the primitive mystical region would be accompanied by their guard army. A champion-level Undying assigned personally to protect him felt odd and a little suspicious. What exactly are you supposed to protect me from? Tell me straight, Zhen King said. What are you going to Yuan Chen for? I'm going to complete the Territory Lord rank highest point mission, Li Qi answered. He briefly summarized Stage 1 for Zhen King. Zhen King listened, then nodded. Good, it's not related to the Luojia clan. Li Qi's curiosity sharpened. What's so special about the Luojia clan? It's one of the many fourth-class bloodline clans among the human race. Not special by itself, Zhen King said. But you should know its old ancestor is King Hongji. King Hongji? Li Qi thought back to what Miao Li had said about King Hongji being closely connected with Zhu Feng. honored one of the werewolf branch. Qijian King continued with a heavy voice. King Hongji is an ancient champion undying, an invincible presence among champion undyings. He once traded blows with the universe exalt and lived to tell the tale. That means he's a king undefeated level talent, Li Qi murmured. Yes, though those were his peak days. He has declined since, but he could still be ranked among the king title limit at his best. Qijian King's tone grew more serious. He showed unbelievable talent even before he reached his peak, probably not much worse than you now. A prodigy who appears once every tens of millions of eras. And get this, it took him only a little over 20,000 years to grow from weakness to king undefeated. The experts expected him to become one of the human race's superpowers. Qijian King sighed. Being so dazzling made him a target. Foreign races tried to assassinate him. They didn't succeed directly, but they destroyed his heart. Destroyed his heart? Li Qi asked, puzzled. The heart of a strong one, Qijian King replied. Do you remember what I once told you? Li Qi answered hesitantly. To learn to endure loneliness? Qijian King nodded. Exactly. King Hongji's heart of a strong one was extinguished because he couldn't bear the loneliness after repeated targeting. What do you mean by repeated targeting? Li Qi asked, dread rising in his chest. Qijian King's voice turned low. They destroyed his hometown in an assassination attack. All the residents of his planet, most of his family and friends, were killed. Li Qi's face drained of color. That sounds exactly like the assassination I ran into. Qijian King's expression didn't change. It's the same kind of assassination. His hometown destroyed, his family and friends dead. Li Qi felt the air go thin. Qijian King went on. After that, the foreign races used soul enslavement. They captured his wife and son and forced them to carry the strongest fire god's source crystals. When they were reunited with King Hongji, they were detonated. Li Qi's hands clenched. That's monstrous. They didn't stop, Qijian King continued. He survived the blast, but his heart was shattered. He tried to recover and spent vast effort cultivating his son and wife up to world lord rank. He even took on a personal disciple who resembled his son. But in the end, the foreign races soul enslaved his personal disciple too, forced the disciple to carry the strongest fire god source crystal, and the disciple detonated himself, taking King Hongji with him. It's tragic, Li Qi breathed. His wife, son, and disciple were all turned into assassins. It all destroyed him. Qijian King's eyes were grave. I'm telling you this to remind you, be careful with your attachments. Don't let your guard down because of loneliness or love. The foreign races use hearts and families as weapons. If you let your heart of a strong one be broken, what happened to King Hongji could happen to you. King Qijian's face filled the light screen. His voice was low and steady. Li Qi, if you have Luojia clan blood, you should understand the clan's character. Obsessive, Li Qi answered without hesitation. Yes, obsessive. King Qijian inclined his head. An obsessive temperament has its strengths and its dangers. It drives a person forward relentlessly, but it can also pull them into an abyss. In the human race's long history, many geniuses have risen. Some faced trials like King Hongji did, but very few suffered such utter ruin. Li Qi listened carefully. King Qijian's words were right. Obsession could be a double-edged sword. If someone were obsessively focused on becoming strong, they would pursue it with terrifying single-mindedness, and they might use any means to get there. You carry Luojia blood, so your nature will be affected to some degree, King Qijian continued gravely. Foreign races have no scruples in how they assassinate. They might try to recreate the method used to destroy King Hongji, targeting your family to break you. Li Qi's stomach dropped at the mention of that method. He had seen the ruin of King Hongji in his mind. If enemies hit his family, he might not be able to bear it. Even if he survived, the devastation would last. King Qijian's face softened into a small smile. Don't worry, at least not yet. Qianwu Universe Country's intelligence has analyzed you. Although you value your family, it's not to the point that a deliberate attack on them could shatter your will. Foreign races probably judge you the same way. Li Qi breathed easier. How did they reach that conclusion? He asked. You've cultivated for over 600 years in total, King Qijian explained. But you've never returned home since you left. You had many chances, but you didn't go back. Also, Your family's finances are modest, only 2 to 300 Honyuan units in total. That is far below what one would expect given your status and resources. From that, they inferred you don't place extreme importance on your family. Li Qi shook his head inwardly. The intelligence was powerful, their methods thorough, but they'd drawn a flawed conclusion. It wasn't that he didn't care. It was that he had focused everything on the faint hope of bringing his eldest brother back. When I entered the lava secret realm, the peak genius battle was only about 70 years away, he said. I dedicated those years entirely to cultivating the wood origin law to widen my lead. I scarcely cultivated the spatial origin law, and once I entered the Virtual Universe Corporation, I had no opportunity to return. As for funds, the family was only an astral rank family. Even as my status rose, it didn't have the capital to grow quickly. Later, after Sixth Uncle took over operations, he explicitly told me not to pour money into the family. Li Qi felt a flicker of relief. If the intelligence agencies underestimated his family's importance to him, that mistake might protect them. As long as he kept a measured distance in future, the family might remain safe. Thanks for the warning, King Qijun, he said. Just a few small suggestions, King Qijun replied with a faint smile. You are a once-in-tens of millennia genius born in my Qianwu universe country. I want to see you become a true powerhouse. Li Qi bowed his thanks again, then asked, King Hongji had other special connections, didn't he? People talk about his ties with Zhu Feng, Honored One. Not only Zhu Feng, King Qijun said, shaking his head. King Hongji grew up during the era of interspecies strife. After he became an undefeated king, he fought for years on the outside territory battlefield. Though he experienced a period of depression, he still fought on behalf of humanity for a long time. Over those years, he befriended one undying strong individual after another. Some remain at undying rank, others fell in battle, and a small number rose to universe exalt within our race. In the upper reaches of my Virtual Universe Corporation, there are sworn brothers of King Hongji. That is why his identity was so weighty. I understand, Li Qi said. King Hongji's background was indeed formidable. I must go soon, King Qijun said softly. I'll perform a God Kingdom teleportation to Yuan Chen Universe Country. Should I, my guard leader Miao Li, perform the teleport instead? Li Qi offered. No need. It's only a dozen Hunyuan units, King Qijun answered. Before I teleport, I'll put the spaceship into my world ring. Li Qi understood. A God Kingdom teleportation opens a spatial passage whose fluctuations could expose the God Kingdom's coordinates. Storing the ship in a personal world ring was a simple way to avoid revealing those coordinates. After a few more words, they ended the call. Li Qi felt a subtle world fluctuation as the spaceship vanished into King Qian's world ring. Qianwu Universe Country, Lasao World. Lasao was a vast territory more than 2 light-years across. Here the Golden Horn race lived, rock-like beings that resembled the human Bora race in form and fed on soil, rubber, and metal. Since the fall of Elder Hirodo, the Golden Horn race had slipped from a peak-level civilization to ordinary status. To survive, they had begun to attach themselves to the human race, which stood highest among the peak races. In the great palace of the Lasao World Elder Council, a green-skinned golden horn with a vertical golden mark on his brow looked down at 7 kneeling tribe members. His aura was fierce. By order of the Human Virtual Universe Corporation, you will go to Yuan Chen Universe Country to assist Li Qi, he said. He is a once-in-tens of millennia genius of the human race. You will be sent by God Kingdom teleportation. While among humans, remain humble. Our survival depends on befriending human geniuses, and your mission is to befriend Li Qi. He paused, eyes narrowing. Intel says Li Qi has a talent for the Beast God path. Invite him to Lasao World. If necessary, reveal the Holy Tablet and the Beast God statue. The 7 bowed low. Everything for the race, they said in unison. Virtual Universe Corporation, Yuan Chen Continent. Beneath the continent, on a small, graceful island, a group of palace complexes served as the Yuan Chen branch of the Virtual Universe Corporation. In the central palace, 3 undying spiritual gods sat in a long hall, their auras heavy in the charged air. What do you think headquarters means by this? One of them asked. Li Qi is an Inspector Special Envoy of Qianwu Universe Country. Why is he here in Yuan Chen? Since when can special envoys cross star domains? and more than one. Perhaps he's here to complete a Territory Lord rank highest points mission, another said. He isn't our envoy. We simply follow headquarters and hand over temporary command of the 6th Army to him. Then have Jiao Su Hao, the 6th Army's commander, contact him, the third advised. A silver-white, sword-shaped universe ship cut through the dark universe toward the purple B star region. Inside, Li Qi sat on a sofa, a light screen listing the resources he could mobilize for the first stage of his mission. I'll meet the Army Master of the 6th Army first, he murmured and put through a contact. The call was answered, and the screen filled with the image of a beautiful woman. There was an unsettling hint of evil qi between her brows. She flicked out a thin, forked tongue as she spoke. Your Highness Li Qi, she said. By order of the Virtual Universe Corporation, the million warriors of the Yuan Chen 6th Army will obey your command. Li Qi inclined his head. Thank you, Jiao Su Hao. I'll be relying on the 6th Army. It is our honor to serve a peerless genius, she replied, smiling. Let me introduce the 6th Army. Jiao Su Hao explained that the 6th Army, also called the 66th Army Group, had just returned from 100 years on the outside territory battlefield and was resting in Yuan Chen. It was fully staffed. The army group consisted of 100 armies, each army containing one undying spiritual god, 100 world lords, 1,000 territory lords, and 10,000 universe ranks. Li Qi thought, newly returned from the outside territory, no wonder Jiao Su Hao bore that edge of evil qi. He knew how regular deployments worked. Armies cycled through campaigns on the outside territory battlefield, and a campaign-going army could number over 10,000. An army group could field over 1 million personnel. His own guard army was scaled to 1/10 the size. Only one undying spiritual god, 10 world lords, 100 territory lords, and 1,000 universe ranks. But the quality was higher. Those 10 world lords were law-recognized, each the caliber of a world lord general on the outside territory battlefield. Jiao Su Hao, Li Qi said apologetically, this mission is extremely important. I can't reveal its contents yet. Please be prepared to wait a few more days. Understood, she said without a hint of displeasure. As a Marquise-level undying, she had pride, but faced with Li Qi, a genius born once in tens of millions of eras, she showed restraint. Had the other party been an ordinary territory lord, she might have let her pride show. After the call, Li Qi prepared to contact the Golden Horn Race's Wolf Tribe Action Unit, Yuan Chen Universe Country. An F-class ship cruised through the dark universe. Inside, 7 Golden Horn Race members gathered in the lounge, green-skinned, each with the vertical golden brow mark. An elder among them, hair streaked with age, addressed the group. The one we're assisting is the human race's newest genius in 10 million eras, he said. He passed the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge at universe rank. His comprehension of the laws already surpasses an ordinary undying spiritual god. A true top human genius, a younger member exclaimed. For our race to survive, we must befriend the humans' future leaders. This is our chance. Face such a genius and befriend him at any cost, another said. If he becomes a strong individual in humanity, it will benefit our tribe and the entire Golden Horn race. Our wolf tribe is only medium-sized, the elder added. This opportunity is enormous. If we succeed and receive rewards, Wolf Tribe might produce a champion-level undying, rise to high-rank status, and secure an F-class ship. They discussed their tribal hierarchy. Lower-ranked tribes had ordinary undying spiritual gods. Medium tribes had Marcus-level undying and multiple undying spiritual gods. Upper tribes could field champion-level undying. The Elder Tribe title was reserved for the top 10 Golden Horn tribes, which hosted Universe Exalt-level elders. Normally, when humans mobilized their vassal races, they demanded champion-level forces. This time, however, the humans had not called on an upper-ranked tribe. Wolf Tribe, with only Marquise-level strength, had been given the chance. 5 days later, in a reception room on Yuan Chen Continent, Virtual Universe. This is the mission objective for the operation. Li Qi sat cross-legged, a pale holographic screen floating before him. He swiped his finger and the display slid aside. Opposite him stood Jiao Su Hao, a lithe, silver-armored beauty with the lower body of a serpent. She examined the files on the screen, the malignant gleam between her brows already fading into puzzled inquiry. The Takur family in the purple B-star region, she murmured, reading. An undying who has only just reached Marquise level. Is it really worth mobilizing an entire army? Li Qi flicked a hand and revealed the rest of the briefing. Zhao Suhao's doubts deepened as she took it in. 80 million people are marked for extermination, she said finally. No wonder you want a full mobilization. 80 million was no small number, scattered across more than 2,000 star systems in the Purple B region that still averaged under 40,000 per system, but it would demand tremendous manpower to wipe them out. Li Qi pointed at the intelligence feed. Our reports show Abadu, a first-order Marquise-level immortal, is still on Takur. My plan is this. Zhao Suhao, have the 1st through 20th armies of your 9th Army Corps accompany me to Takur to cooperate with the Golden Horn Race Wolf Action Team in killing Abadu. The remaining 80 armies, commanded by undying spiritual gods, will move against the Takur family's world lords. The rest of our forces will disperse under world lord leadership and clear targets in each star system. He added, the 4 world lords listed must be captured alive and sent here. I intend to execute them personally. No problem, Zhao Suhao replied after considering the orders. When do we begin? In 8 days, Li Qi said. The Golden Horn Wolf Action Team must rendezvous first. Once Abadu is eliminated, the other armies will strike. Very well, Zhao Suhao agreed. I'll order all units to maintain virtual universe silence until the operation begins. Contact with the virtual universe will be restored only at that time. Li Qi nodded. The crucial priority was to kill the Marquise-level Undying before word spread. Once news leaked, Abadu could escape by Divine Kingdom teleportation. Complete silence would prevent leaks, but it carried risks. Zhao Suhao interjected, cautious. Maintaining silence will prevent leakage, but it could make it impossible to track the 80 million targets. If they scatter, our forces won't receive intelligence. Prioritize silence, Li Qi decided. He had already planned to abandon the wider extermination. 80 million targets were simply untenable. Zhao Suhao understood and bowed her head. Understood. After a brief exchange, they parted. Li Qi then reviewed the Golden Horn Wolf Action Team's dossier. The Wolf Team comprised 7 undying spiritual gods, 1 Hao level at peak stage, 1 Marcus level high stage, 2 first-order Marcus level immortals, and 3 immortal military lords at peak stage. Li Qi remembered the Golden Horn race's former glory, once a proud power during the reign of Overlord Hirodo, and how it had declined after his death, eventually attaching itself to the human race and joining the human-led Great Alliance for protection. 8 days later, above a mineral planet several 100 million kilometers from Takur, an F-class transport dropped out of transit. The hatch sighed open, and 7 Golden Horn race members stepped onto the rock, green-skinned with vertical golden marks on their foreheads. At their head, a senior bowed to Li Qi, announcing in a low tone, Elder Innate of the Golden Horn Race Wolf Division, leading his team to greet Your Highness, Human Special Envoy Li Qi. There's no need for ceremony, Elder Innate. Li Qi smiled. Come with me, we'll go over the plan. They climbed aboard the Dark Qi, Li Qi's small universe ship. In the roomy public salon, the Golden Horn members whispered among themselves. Is this an F-class ship? One transmitted in curiosity. A peerless human genius could afford something like this. It's more than an F-class, another voice offered. I've never seen this hull material. It has a sharp metallic scent. Elder Innate answered, pride in his tone. That's F-grade alloy, the human race's top-tier F-grade purgatory alloy. Its properties rival G-level metals. The 3 immortal military lords on the team brightened at that. As an ordinary allied race, the Golden Horn race was short on such resources. Seeing a human F-grade hull impressed them. Quiet, the Marcus-level high stage interrupted. The briefing is starting. Do not offend His Highness. They fell silent. Li Qi scanned the assembled faces. His bodyguard Miao Li, 9th Army Corps Commander Zhao Suhao, and the 7 Golden Horn operatives, and began. Your mission is simple. Kill Abadu, a first-order Marcus-level immortal. He spread several light screens showing Abadu's appearance and vital stats. Remember this. Once the operation begins, you must activate the Virtual Universe Network's synchronized transmission. It will record the battle in real time. The virtual universe system controls that feed, so it is inviolable. Detailed operation records must be captured that way. The Golden Horn team confirmed with short, sharp nods. Li Qi leaned back and added, "According to my latest intelligence, Abadu is still on Takuer. We depart now." A light screen at the end of the salon flicked to life, presenting 20 images, the commanders of the 1st through 20th Armies of the 9th Army Corps. Li Qi's voice cut through, cold and decisive. 9th Army Corps, target, Takuer, depart. Yes, came the chorus of acknowledgments. The dark Qi streaked into the sky like a lance of black light. 20 interstellar warships, each over 10,000 meters long, rose, accelerated, and vanished into transit in a flash. Takuer, Purple B Star Region. The Takuer family was the dominant house of the region. Even the Purple Bee royal household was comparatively weak, its ruler only an immortal military lord, high stage. Takuer, the ancestral world of the Takuer family, glittered with prosperity, tens of billions of residents and tens of thousands of ships moving through its spaceways every day. Outside the bustling spaceport, a ripple ran through space. A shuttle-shaped dark red craft materialized and slid toward Takuer, slipping past the planet's monitoring and defense systems as if the laws did not apply to it. It fell through the atmosphere and sped toward the Takuer family estate like a spear. In the dark Qi's lounge, Li Qi spoke to Elder Rui Ente one last time. Abadu is in the Takuer family estate. Your task is to kill him. Do not allow him to escape by Divine Kingdom teleportation. Start the virtual universe synchronized transmission the moment the operation begins. Elder Ruiente bowed deeply. You have my word, Your Highness. He will not escape. Li Qi nodded. Operation begins. Above the Takuer family estate, the dark Qi opened its hatch. The 7 golden horn undying dropped into the sky and streaked toward the sprawling seat of power. The estate was a city of palaces, opulence radiating from its core. At its center rose a 3,000-meter mountain crowned with terraced palaces that curled up its flanks like a sleeping serpent. Li Qi watched the sight and sighed, amused and solemn. Beautiful. Such a shame it's about to be destroyed. If Your Highness likes it, when this is over I will buy it and present it to you, Zhao Suhao's soft voice offered. I'm no collector, Li Qi said with a brief smile. 90% of my life is spent cultivating. I expect that will continue. Zhao Suhao smiled admiringly. No wonder you've achieved so much. Talent and hard cultivation both count. Flattery? Li Qi chuckled, then checked his comms. Elder Ruiente, have you located Abadu? Sudden devastation tore the mountain palaces apart. A thunderous, eternal force slammed down and fissured space like cracking glass. Buildings shredded into fragments and vanished into the rifts. Who's there? A voice bellowed. From the chaos, a crimson figure burst free of a whirl of torn space. Abadu of Takuer, the Takuer family's old ancestor, a first-order Marcus-level immortal. He staggered, his divine body scorched by the initial assault, but as a Marcus-level undying, his form reconstituted with frightening speed. One of the Golden Horn immortal military lords darted in, blades of compressed mind energy, several golden longswords, slashing space itself to reach Abadu. The Marcus scoffed at the attack. An immortal military lord dares to assault me, a Marcus-level undying? You court death! He parried the slash, then snarled when another immortal military lord charged. 2 immortal military lords, he spat. Numbers don't guarantee victory. Abadu's confidence wavered as 5 more powerful auras converged upon him. 2 exceeded his strength, 2 matched it, and 3 were slightly weaker. The 7 undying closed in. 1 Hao level at peak. Abadu's eyes widened. 1 Marquise-level high stage, 2 first-order Marcus-level immortals, 3 immortal military lord peak stages. Which faction do you serve? Abadu blustered, grasping for leverage. I am a close associate of Zhen Yi Marquise of the Luojia clan. A golden horn first-order Marquise-level immortal's voice was cold and deep. We answer to the Virtual Universe Corporation, not to the Luojia clan. The name stunned Abadu into silence. He had not expected the virtual universe to be involved. Panic flashed across his face. He roared, and a blinding light erupted from his body as he attempted to open a spatial rift for Divine Kingdom teleportation. But before he could escape, 3 crushing strikes carrying forbidden power slammed into him, shattering his divine form and ripping the surrounding space to shreds. Abadu's attempt to open a teleportation channel failed in an instant. No. Inside the dark Chi ship, a light screen in the lounge showed a live virtual simulation, the Golden Horn race Undyings besieging Abadu. When Abadu declared he served the Luo Jia clan, Li Qi's eyes narrowed. Luo Jia clan, a vast, influential power with innumerable branches, ranked among the top 3 superforces in Yuan Chen Universe country, alongside the 5 great giants. If the Virtual Universe Corporation had sent him on a top-point mission to Yuan Chen Universe country, it could be aimed at the Luo Jia clan. He couldn't jump to conclusions yet. He needed to see how the rest of the mission unfolded. If more targets later involved the Luo Jia clan, his suspicion would be confirmed. Given his background, Li Qi also knew he was well-suited to be the blade against the Luo Jia clan. Their old ancestor, King Hongji, held a unique status and had ties with many universe exalts. Most people wouldn't dare provoke such an ancient champion-level powerhouse. But Li Qi was different, a personal disciple of a universe lord, openly favored. In the eyes of many, only such favor could give someone the power to resurrect family members. He hoped his guess was wrong. He turned to Jiao Suhao, the beautiful snake woman coiled beside him. Begin the other operations. Understood. Jiao Suhao nodded and, through the Virtual Universe Network's Army channel, issued orders to Legion warriors spread throughout the Purple Bee Star region. Begin operation. At her command, one universe ship after another blockaded planet after planet, capturing 80 million names on the Takur family's list. 20 colossal universe ships, each more than 10,000 meters long, sealed off the prosperous Takur system in orbit. Any ship that tried to flee during the blockade would be destroyed. Boom! 3 terrifying blows struck Abadu, shattering his divine body and making the surrounding space tremble. Abadu roared. He'd been on the verge of opening a spatial channel into the divine kingdom, but the shattering of his divine body interrupted the transmission of eternal divine power and destabilized the forming channel. When he recondensed, the vibrating space made it extremely difficult to reopen the channel. Time was running out. Maintain the attack frequency. Don't let him teleport to his divine kingdom and escape, Elder Rui Ente of the Golden Horn race transmitted to the undying spiritual gods. He and 6 others, the Elder plus 6 undying spiritual gods, formed the siege. Understood, the 6 responded in unison, and they attacked relentlessly in coordinated waves, working to annihilate Abadu's divine body. Marquise-level Undyings possess an undying body. Even if their divine body is shattered into dust, a sufficient reservoir of divine power can instantly reconstitute it. That is why the gap between a Marquise-level Undying and an ordinary military lord is so vast. Ordinary undying spiritual gods, whose cellular and mental imprints are not perfectly condensed, can be killed by continuous assaults. But a Marquise-level Undying with an undying body is extremely hard to kill. Any fragment can recondense, and the energy cost is negligible. Rather than trying to execute an immortal through repeated strikes, opponents usually seal them or use 2 decisive methods: soul destruction, which shatters their soul imprints over time and requires overwhelming power and soul attack expertise, or divine power annihilation, a method that consumes and destroys an enemy's eternal divine power. The Golden Horn race's Undyings used the latter. 3 overwhelming strikes cut through the space and hit Abadu again, turning his just-recovered body into fragments. Shockwaves reduced the once grand Takur Manor to ruins. All life within had long since been wiped out, and weaker lives had been ground to dust. No chance to escape. Abadu's inner roar was edged with panic and fury. Surrounded by 7 coordinated Undyings, escape was impossible. Every tiny fragment of an undying spiritual god's divine body bears a soul imprint. Losing divine power meant losing soul. Abadu had already lost nearly 30% of his divine body, and his strength had dropped to half. If he couldn't escape, he chose the last resort, self-detonation. Elder Ruyente noticed an anomaly in Abadu's eternal divine power and snorted. He began burning his own eternal divine power for the first time in the battle. The axe in his hands cleaved with savage force. Wherever the blade passed, space fractured and fissures spread outward. The strike hit Abadu as he tried to detonate. It turned him into a puddle of flesh in a single blow. He reconstituted instantly, but the loss was brutal. 12% of his divine body gone. Die! Elder Ruiente continued to burn his own divine power, boosting his attack to the level of a king-level high-stage undying. Each strike cost Abadu more than 10% of his divine body. After 4 blows, Abadu had lost over 70% of his divine body. His remaining strength was negligible. With a final desperate cry, Abadu perished beneath the coordinated siege. Elder Ruiente's expression was grim. He had burned nearly 8% of his own divine body to achieve the kill. Such a loss would take centuries, if not millennia, to recover. Li Qi watched the virtual simulation conclude and thought, Abadu is dead. That adds 20% completion to the first stage of the top point mission. A light screen popped up. A man bowed slightly on the display. Your Highness Li Qi, my 7th Army has captured the target, World Lord Anna. Anna is a World Lord rank Tier 4, 20%, Li Qi said. Send her over immediately. Yes. The 7th Army commander nodded. I'll dispatch a ship now. The screen faded. Zhao Suhao reported from beside him. Your Highness, according to the 41st Army commander, target Sero has been captured and is en route to Takuer. Good. Li Qi smiled. 2 of the 4 personally targeted individuals were in custody. Kill 2 more to gain 35%, plus the 20% from Abadu, and he'd reach 55%. Only 25% remained for the World Lord rank Tier 5 Wola Wei. Reaching 80% total would meet the minimum requirement to activate the mission's second stage. Soon the 7th Army commander reappeared on the light screen. Your Highness, Anna has been delivered. Good, I'll be there. Li Qi left the Dark Qi ship. The 7th Army's commander stood with several World Lord rank warriors escorting Anna. Members of the Golden Horn race who'd participated in the siege returned and saluted him. Li Qi nodded. World Lord Anna stood in casual clothes, expression neutral. When she saw Li Qi surrounded by so many undyings, she gave a shocked exclamation. It's you! You know me? Li Qi asked. Recognition here surprised him. If this had been Chanwu Universe country, it would be expected. He was a celebrated figure there. But he was far from Chanwu. His current body had been customized for the primitive mystical region, and his appearance and bearing had changed. Still, Anna knew him. The 2nd place in the last peak genius battle, she answered. Of course I know you. Li Qi nodded. Your Takuer family has committed unforgivable crimes. The entire family must be punished. Abadu is dead. You can live if you survive against me, Li Qi continued. Prove yourself, and you won't die. Anna's heart sank at the mention of the clan chief, a Marquise-level undying spiritual god. She had no route of retreat. Her only hope was to survive the duel against Li Qi. Li Qi placed 2nd in the genius battle. His talents undeniable, but over 500 years have passed since then. He must have grown stronger, though he's still only Territory Lord rank Tier 9, she thought, then spoke aloud. Very well, let us begin. Good. Li Qi waved a hand. Everyone else, fall back. They dispersed a few kilometers, staying alert for surprises. Anna snapped her spatial ring. A long white whip crackled with electric light into existence, and her casual clothes reformed into silver battle armor. She was about to strike when Li Qi raised a hand. Wait, Anna froze. 10 undying spiritual gods watched her. She wouldn't dare play tricks. Then a ripple of world fluctuation shimmered, and a towering young man in black battle attire appeared, black gauntlets, arm shields. But the image was massive. Li Qi's voice came, calm. Now we can begin. Anna's eyes climbed over the black patterned armor, over a broad chest, and finally up to Li Qi's face. But what loomed above was not a normal human height. The form that had manifested was over 120 meters tall. This, Anna's voice trembled. Facing a colossus like that, a 120-meter figure, an odd, sinking feeling struck her. Her 5-meter-long electric whip suddenly seemed pitifully small. The 7th Army commander gaped. I'd heard His Highness Li Qi gained a major opportunity, and his body is unusually tall even among humans. But this... Zhao Suhao, in her snake-woman form, sighed softly. This is still after he shrank. Shrank, the commander repeated. I've heard his true form reaches 1 kilometer. Another first-order Marquise-level undying said. 1 kilometer. The commander could barely imagine it. Even among the giant god race or the giant race, that height would be extraordinary. A peak undying military commander frowned. With such a body, is he even human? A first-order Marcus-level immortal felt the aura exuding from Li Qi and said, "He is human. His Highness Li Qi is flesh and blood." "Still, such a massive body," the military commander muttered. Elder Rui Ente's voice cut in. "With such fortuity, His Highness Li Qi has a high chance of becoming a future powerhouse. We must befriend him." The king-level high-stage Undying added, "We've completed our mission and won't remain long. We must resolve this quickly." Anna looked up at the colossal figure and down at the electric whip in her hand, feeling suddenly adrift. How could she possibly defeat such a monster? If this had been a Yao beast or a vicious beast, a body stretching hundreds of meters would not have been unusual. But Anna had never faced a human opponent so massive. She told herself, inwardly steadying her nerves. No matter how huge his body, he was still a territory lord rank stage 9. A large frame always sacrificed agility. With the world projection restraining him, her small size could be an advantage. There had to be a chance to win. 10 undying spiritual gods watched nearby. They had killed Old Ancestor, a Marquise rank undying expert. Among them, there must be at least one Marcus rank. Escape was impossible. If she wanted to survive, she had to take down Li Qi. A long whip would be useless on an opponent this size. So, her thoughts sprinted. Anna exhaled, flicked the long whip in her hand, and it retracted with a faint crackle of electricity. The 5-meter soft whip shortened, its segments sliding together until it became a 4-meter silver-white spear. Silver light flashed as she gripped it with both hands. Secret patterns along the shaft glowed, and purple lightning ran its length with a constant rumble. Lightning covered her like a coiling purple dragon. World fluctuations shivered outward as a purple lightning the frem. World descended several kilometers across, enveloping Li Qi and pressing down on his enormous body. This world projection's suppression is strong, Anna thought, relieved. The purple lightning world made Li Qi feel as if he were in high gravity. His limbs were heavier. If this were used against an ordinary territory lord rank stage 9 from the primitive mystical region, it would likely weaken them by 30 to 40%. But, with a single powerful grip, Li Qi broke free of the projection. His gaze sharpened. "You attacked the wrong person." Green light burst from Li Qi and expanded in a 3 to 4 meter radius. The green domain did not yield to the purple lightning. Instead, it pushed back, matching it. With a life gene level that high and his wood origin law comprehension at Heavenly Bridge 7th level, Li Qi's domain could contend with Anna's projection. Anna, racing up to strike, felt the green suppression bite into her speed and strength. Even that slight dampening stunned her. His domain. How can it be this oppressive? Li Qi's upper body dipped, and his armed shield slammed down to meet Anna's spear. The strike shook his frame. He judged quickly from the attack's force. A World Lord rank stage 4 named Anna, law comprehension about Heavenly Bridge 7th level, upper middle among World Lords. He smiled inwardly. If an ordinary territory lord rank stage 9 with Heavenly Bridge 8th level faced her, they might struggle or even lose. But I'm different. My life gene level is 512 times. Even without Yuan Chong Ruyi body and the Blood Luo power from the Black Warrior, my base strength can crush a World Lord. The base strength gap between a World Lord rank stage 1 and a Territory Lord rank stage 9 is about tenfold. With his 512 times life gene, Li Qi's raw power was comparable to a World Lord rank stage 5. He was confident the fight could end quickly. His arm shield, over 10 meters across, easily absorbed Anna's lightning-laced spear. Panic flared in Anna's chest. She was a World Lord rank expert. Yet against this monster she could hardly harm him. She felt like the feeble Territory Lord rank stage 9. Li Qi's hand flashed. A black claw mark ripped through the azure sky with a terrifying speed and breadth, tearing space itself and revealing layers of shuddering spatial fragments. The stroke swept over Anna before she could dodge. "No," she cried. The claw tore her apart. Silence followed. Li Qi watched the body dissolved by the black mark and, in an even voice, said, "Close the virtual universe synchronized transmission." A faint beep indicated that the live broadcast had been terminated. He had enabled the synchronized feed before the battle to prove he killed Anna. Is this the human race's top genius? A Marquise rank peak undying of the Golden Horn race transmitted with a sigh. Remarkable. A World Lord rank stage 4 fell so quickly. She was formidable for her rank, another marquise conceded. Her law comprehension matched many veteran world lords. If His Highness Li Qi could kill her so easily, his power must be comparable to ordinary veteran world lords. One of our top territory lord-rank geniuses might defeat Anna, but only by pouring out many trump cards, a third voice added, threaded with unease. Yet Li Qi was relaxed while killing her. The Marquise rank High Undying's words hung in the chat, heavy with implied worry. They didn't know how much strength Li Qi had shown. What if this had only been a fraction of his power? The possibility was unlikely, but not impossible. We must befriend the human race's geniuses, especially those with limitless potential, Elder Ruiente said gravely. You all know the reports. His Highness Li Qi was taken as a personal disciple by a super expert among humans. The Golden Horn members fell silent. They had seen Li Qi's file. A human super expert had personally taken him on and favored him. If an individual could revive an entire family, perhaps even their Golden Horn race couldn't match that. Their race had long yearned to revive Elder Herodo, but such a feat would demand resources their contributions couldn't easily buy. Befriending Li Qi was not just a command, it was survival. Everything, for the race, the undying spiritual gods transmitted solemnly under their leader's guidance. The 7th Army commander watched Li Qi's transmitted performance with a private sigh. A World Lord rank Stage 4 with Heavenly Bridge, 7th level comprehension, had been outclassed with ease. Li Qi had probably held back. It was impressive, but in the commander's view, not inexplicable. Li Qi was the personal disciple of a human super expert. Higher expectations followed. After the battle, Li Qi's highest score mission recorded a first stage completion of 40%. He told the undying spiritual gods, once the Taquir family target mission is complete, we depart for Fengyi. Fengyi, the Purple Bee Empire's third most prosperous planet, hosted the Virtual Universe Corporation's Purple Bee Star domain branch. The undying spiritual gods boarded 3 spacecraft and headed for Taquir's spaceport. After Abadu had fallen, warriors from several armies had already poured into Taquir to execute the 80 million kill list. Several days later, at the Virtual Universe branch on Fengyi, Li Qi and Jiao Suhao sat across from each other at a conference table that spanned tens of meters. Currently, there are 26 fugitives from the Taquir family. Among them, besides Wo Wei, one is a territory lord rank, Jiao Suho reported. Sax has been apprehended and is being sent to Fengyi. Li Qi's expression tightened. How could so many have escaped? To prevent leaks, we imposed a communication blackout before the operation. During the blackout, Wo Wei's team left the target planet. The team, personally led by the 69th Army commander, came back empty-handed, Jiao Suhao said. We couldn't control their movements, but we've sealed the surrounding star domain. They can't get out. They're likely hiding on some mineral world. I've ordered the 54th through 77th Armies to expand the search and try to kill or capture them before the mission deadline, Jiao Suhao added. That's the limit we can do, Li Qi said. If more armies joined the search, the blockade would weaken and escape chances would spike. They understand the severity, Jiao Suhao nodded. They parted. Li Qi returned to his temporary residence on Fengyi, brooding. My mission completion is 55%, he calculated. I need another 25% to unlock the next stage of the highest score mission. Wo Wei is worth 25%. I must personally kill him. But Wo Wei was at large, and Mission 3 couldn't be completed while he and one territory lord remained free. If Li Qi failed to secure Wo Wei, his highest score mission would stall at the first stage. He had no margin for error. More than 10 days later, in a lavishly furnished room, Li Qi sat cross-legged before a light screen while an officer reported the latest updates. Your Highness, Wo Wei has been apprehended and is en route to Fengyi. Aside from him, all other World Lord and Territory Lord members of the Taquir family have been killed. Of 80 million targets, 22 fugitives have been eliminated. Only 4 remain at large. The 54th through 77th Armies are expanding their sweeps. Li Qi simply nodded. Hearing that Wo Wei had been caught relaxed him considerably. 10 days earlier, learning his 4th personal kill was missing had rattled him. Now, it was just a matter of waiting for delivery. Days later, the target finally arrived at Fengyi. The 69th Army commander bowed respectfully. Your Highness, the captive in this cabin is Wo Wei. The 69th Army commander had nearly ruined the mission by nearly losing this crucial target, and his future prospects would have suffered badly if the deadline had been missed. Jiao Suhao had been furious, though he still shielded his subordinate in front of Li Qi. Bring him out, Li Qi said. I want to fight him. Under Jiao Suhao's cold gaze, the 69th Army commander moved swiftly. Wo Wei was led out. Li Qi addressed him directly. I'll give you a chance. If you can survive against me, you may live. I know you. You were second at the last peak genius battle. Wo Wei, capable of reaching World Lord rank stage 5, wouldn't surrender the chance to live. Even knowing his opponent was the famed Li Qi, he chose to fight. Their law comprehension levels were comparable, though Wo Wei was a stage higher than Anna. The duel was brief and decisive. Li Qi easily defeated and killed him. With Wo Wei dead, Li Qi's mission completion climbed by 25% to 100%. At that moment, he received a notification from the Virtual Universe Corporation. Virtual Universe, Rain Phase Mountain Original Area. Li Qi sat on the sofa in his study, a translucent screen hovering before him. An email from the Virtual Universe Corporation filled the display. A completion notice for the first stage of the highest integral mission. Li Qi Royce, your completion of the first stage of the highest integral mission has reached 100%. After deliberation by the highest assessment council, it has been determined that you completed the first stage ahead of schedule. You have been awarded 500,000 highest mission reward points for the first stage and are eligible to proceed to the second stage. Comment: the first stage of this highest integral mission was relatively simple. You completed it ahead of schedule with 100% completion. Your performance in personally eliminating targets met the Assessment Council's expectations. We hope you maintain this in subsequent missions. Li Qi narrowed his eyes. The message didn't read like the corporation's usual style, and the mission itself had been far too simple. Even the last sentence in the comment felt oddly phrased. He checked his points. The 500,000 from this mission, plus the more than 400,000 he'd earned clearing the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge, brought him to nearly 900,000, just shy of the 1,000,000 points required to exchange for the 5th volume of God Tree True Understanding. After the 11th Heavenly Bridge level, he had already earned over 200,000 points, but he'd spent some on secret techniques and treasures and still fell short by about 100,000. Since fully comprehending the essences of the space origin law had rendered the space law analysis in the earlier volumes of God Tree True Understanding useless to him, he had been cultivating the wood origin law in their place, and his progress had been good. He stared at the treasure exchange interface in the corner of the screen, then murmured, "A 100,000 shortfall. I'll have to wait for the second stage of the mission." After breaking through to World Lord and receiving his assignment, only the highest integral mission could yield such a large points payout. He resolved to wait for the second stage. There was a high probability it would be issued in the Yuanchen Universe country, not back in Qianwu Universe country, so there was no rush to return. Li Qi's consciousness left the virtual universe and settled back into the real world. Yuanchen Universe country, Purple Bee Star region, Fengyi. He looked down at the shattered ground. A sunken crater gaped beneath him. A pool of blood at the center was proof enough that Wo Wei had been here. World fluctuations shimmered, and his true body withdrew into his world ring, replaced by a highly realistic simulacrum. Jiao Suho. Li Qi flew to his subordinate's side and inclined his head. All forces of the 6th Army, except the 69th Army, may return. Jiao Suho blinked in surprise. No need to hunt down the 4 fugitives? They're no longer important, Li Qi said softly. Leave the cleanup to the 69th Army. Understood, I'll arrange it. Jiao Suhao nodded. She guessed Li Qi must have completed a mission assigned by the Virtual Universe Corporation's superiors. Nearby, Golden Horn race members who had come to assist whispered over telepathic channels after overhearing the exchange. A Peak Undying Army Lord asked, "From that conversation, it sounds like he did the mission the virtual universe assigned. What do we do now?" They had planned to use this assistance mission to befriend Li Qi and invite him to the Lasao world. But their plan hadn't been executed. The mission was already over, and they hadn't made a personal connection. A Marcus-level High Undying replied telepathically, "Unless the virtual universe orders us home, we stay by His Highness Li Qi's side. At the very least, we must inform him that our Golden Horn race has a beast god statue and a holy tablet." Elder Ruiente added, "Those who cultivate the beast god path know the importance of a beast god statue. We must tell him. He won't reject our invitation." Ruiente promised to find the right moment. More than a month later, in Fengyi, Elder Ruiente knocked softly at Li Qi's door. "Your Highness Li Qi," he called. "Come in," Li Qi answered. Ruiente entered and bowed. "Your Highness?" "Elder Ruiente, is something the matter?" Li Qi asked. "While observing Your Highness's battles with those world lords, I noticed Your Highness appears to be cultivating a fusion law," Ruiente said with a smile. "Am I correct?" Li Qi nodded. "Yes, I have comprehended a trace of fusion law." "Have you ever heard of the beast god path?" Ruiente asked. "I have," Li Qi replied. "There are records in human race archives. After I grasped that trace of fusion law, I found references to it. The beast god path imitates the cultivation method of beast gods," Ruiente explained. "It is extremely difficult, no easier than simultaneously comprehending the space and time origin laws. But if one brings the beast god path to major achievement, one can become a universe-dominating powerhouse." Li Qi nodded, already expecting the next part. "There's a shortcut," Ruiente continued. "Observing and comprehending the mysteries within a beast god's body can aid fusion law comprehension, even if you only glean a little." Ruiente sighed. "Our Golden Horn race once produced the greatest elder, Hirodo. He cultivated the beast god path. While he lived, our race was among the powerful ones. After he died, our standing fell. Still, he left behind two supreme treasures that let our people continue to cultivate the beast god path. One is similar to your human race's chaos tablet. The other is a massive beast god statue. Elder Hirodo's strongest secret technique was said to be derived from it." Li Qi's interest sharpened. "A treasure comparable to the chaos tablet. I'd very much like to see it." "Are you interested in our holy tablet and beast god statue?" Ruiente asked. "Especially the beast god statue," Li Qi admitted. "Then come to our Lasao world as our guest and see them," Ruiente invited. Li Qi hesitated. "Would that be appropriate?" "Of course. Your Highness is a peerless genius of the human race. It would be an honor for the Golden Horn race to host you." Ruiente's tone was sincere. "All right," Li Qi said after a moment. "After this mission ends, about 10 months from now, I'll go." Ruiente brightened. "Perfect. We'll depart together once your assignment concludes. Otherwise, we'd have to wait until you return to Qianwu Universe Country." "So the Lasao world is in the Qianwu Universe Country?" Li Qi asked, feigning surprise. "Yes, it lies within a secret realm there," Ruiente replied. "That explains why the virtual universe sent you to assist me," Li Qi said casually. "If the Lasao world is in Qianwu, then waiting here won't cost much." "Then let us wait," Ruiente decided. "If you need to stay in Yuanchen afterward, we'll go back first. If not, we'll travel together." "When I return to Qianwu, I'll contact you," Li Qi said. "We have no other pressing duties," Ruiente added hastily. "We can wait." "All right," Li Qi smiled. "It's settled." Ruiente bowed and left to inform his clansmen. After the departure, Li Qi let out a small, satisfied smile. He had been waiting for the invitation. The Golden Horn race's tactic was to befriend human geniuses and powerhouses to secure resources. He had not volunteered to visit them. He had waited to be invited. There was a distinct difference in posture. Being invited meant they needed him. Going on his own would imply he needed them. He preferred to be needed. 10 months passed. Li Qi spent the time deepening his comprehension of the wood origin law and occasionally cultivating the Yuan Chong Ruyi body. He had pushed that art to the 3rd level of major achievement. With 3rd level mastery, his body's amplitude reached tenfold, and his volume could be reduced to 1/100th. That sounded impressive, but with a normal body height of 10 kilometers, it meant he could shrink to about 100 meters. Significant, but not tiny. "Master, an important email from the Virtual Universe Corporation," came Xiaoxi's prompt into his mind. Li Qi's heart kicked. The second stage arriving so quickly gave him a bad feeling. He sent a wisp of consciousness back into the virtual universe and materialized in the study in his primal zone estate. He had Xiaoxi open the message. The subject read, Highest Integral Mission, Second Stage. He tapped it open. Mission background. In the Lingqing star region of the Yuan Chen universe, country stands the intermediate state, Lingqing Empire, led by the Kalito family, headed by two undying spiritual gods. This state enforces extreme oppression in the region. Because the Lingqing Empire offers inhumane services, hundreds of millions perish tragically every year. The Kalito family is a branch of the Luo Jia clan. Few forces dare offend them, allowing these practices to continue and, in some cases, escalate into activities that violate human race laws. Mission content. You are to apprehend one undying spiritual god and 23 world lords and domain lords of the Kalito family who have broken human race laws. The 23 world lords and domain lords must be personally apprehended by you. After apprehending all targets, you must judge these 24 individuals. You may punish them according to their crimes. Punishment options: 1. Death penalty. 2. Imprisonment for 100 years. 3. Imprisonment for 10,000 years. 4. Imprisonment for 1 million years. 5. Imprisonment for 100 million years. How these 24 are sentenced is entirely your choice, Li Qi. You may even impose the death penalty on all of them. During the execution of this mission, you must maintain virtual universe network synchronized transmission of everything you do. Only through complete synchronization of your process and sentencing decisions can your mission completion be assessed. 1. If mission completion reaches 70%, you may proceed to the third stage. 2. If mission completion is below 70%, the entire highest integral mission will terminate. Note: except for the undying spiritual god, all punishments on the other 23 must be carried out personally by you, including killing, capturing, and punishing from start to finish. You are forbidden from using outside forces. Your guard army's duty is protection only. They may not execute the mission on your behalf. The Kalito family, a branch of the Luo Jia clan. Li Qi frowned as he studied the mission details on the holoscreen. The first task hit an affiliated force of the Luo Jia clan, and this part targets another branch. The third part, could that be the Luo Jia clan's main branch? When people said the Luo Jia clan, they usually meant the main branch. Other branches had long since become independent in practice. They were still nominally Luo Jia, but they operated as separate family units. That's why the Luo Jia clan proper had only one champion, 2 Marquise-level Undyings, and a few dozen ordinary immortal military lords. Include all the branches, and the count of Marquise-level Undyings would top 10, and the number of undying spiritual gods could be in the thousands. Li Qi rubbed his temple. If the third target is the main branch, that would mean making an enemy of King Hongji. He shook his head. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. A mission from the Virtual Universe Corporation's upper echelons isn't for me to negotiate. I follow my heart nature. King Hongji was a king undefeated who had once tangly with a universe exalt and escaped. His power slightly outstripped the future King Zhen Yan. Li Qi had no desire to make an enemy of someone so far above him. But if the corporation ordered him to move against King Hongji, Li Qi would not betray his own heart nature to curry favor. That was his bottom line. 1 undying spiritual god and 23 targets at World Lord to Territory Lord rank, he read aloud, eyes narrowing. Excluding that undying, I'm to personally apprehend 23 World Lord Territory Lord targets. The judgment must be carried out once all targets are apprehended. He paused. If the mission only requires me to carry out the judgment, I could arrest one and judge one. There's nothing inherently wrong with judging after all are caught, but something about this still feels off. The first part of the High Point mission had been unusually simple, too simple for the corporation's usual style, so Li Qi expected the next phase to be complicated. He couldn't quite puzzle out what the virtual universe leadership intended. He suspected they were using him as a tool, but several mission details nagged at him. He pulled up the intelligence files on the 24 individuals, ranks, locations, crimes, and read through them. His expression hardened. Gods, truly despicable. Yuan Chen's human territory 1004 universe country enjoyed peace because countless warriors died or sacrificed themselves on the outside territory battlefield. Sacrifice bought peace. The powerhouses guarded the human territory. That system bred its own corruption. Men with influence, territory lords, privileged families, often had sons who reached only astral rank, could not improve further, and were ineligible to inherit clan leadership. Once stripped of a clear purpose, wealth and power made such men rotten. They sought ever more perverse thrills, torture, murder, sexual depravity. Over the past 100,000 years, the Ling-Qing star region had become the Yuan Chen universe country's greatest playground for the corrupt. There was nothing the Kalido family wouldn't do to feed those appetites. Sexual depravity, hunting people, gladiatorial games, the basics. But they went further. Planetary wars, survival games that killed millions, assassination contracts on powerful dignitaries. They even ran gambling on when human legions or powerhouses on the outside territory battlefield would die at alien hands. The peace we enjoy costs lives on the battlefield, Li Qi said, voice cold. And the Kalido family is using those lives as gambling fodder. He gritted his teeth. Batu Ding was a fool to hand the Lingqing star region to Lazaku. Lazaku is a madman. The Kaledo family had two undying spiritual gods, Batu Ding, an immortal military lord at peak undying who founded the Lingqing Empire, and Lajaku, an immortal military lord at high-level undying who seized control hundreds of thousands of years ago and turned the region into a nightmare. Lajaku was the real culprit. Aside from him, Li Qi reviewed the other 23 targets. Wotudu, World Lord rank 3rd stage, residing in Yingdu star system, tourist planet Feihongku star. Kutuo, territory lord rank 9th stage, Kuling star system, slave planet Haiming 2 star. Kangdike, world lord rank 8th stage, Liku star system, mineral planet Molili star. Tuotongtu, world lord 9th stage, Lingqing star system, Lingqing imperial capital star. Shaoxi, plot the optimal capture route using the coordinates of the other 23 individuals, not Lajaku, Li Qi ordered. Optimal route set, Wotudu, Kutuo, Kangdike. Shaoxi replied, good. Li Qi nodded, adjusting his mood, and left the virtual universe. In Fengyi, Purple Bee Star region of Yuanchen Universe Country, Li Qi contacted Elder Ruiente of the Golden Horn race via communicator. Ruiente's face appeared on a light screen. Your Highness Li Qi, he greeted. I just received a new order from the Virtual Universe Corporation. My return to Qianwu Universe Country to escort you back to Lasao World must be delayed. If it's urgent, return first, Li Qi said. Contact me when I finish the mission and return to Qianwu. There's nothing urgent, Ruiente replied, slightly disappointed. If you permit, our wolf action team can accompany you for protection. I'm afraid that won't work, Li Qi answered. This mission is special. It's not appropriate for you to come. He explained that the mission required him to personally apprehend the targets. Against some World Lord rank opponents, he'd need to use nearly all his strength. The close quarters combat and special methods involved made it unsuitable for outsiders to watch. I understand. Ruiente bowed slightly. We will return for now. When you're back in Qianwu Universe Country and plan to go to Lasao World, contact us and I'll come to greet you. Very well. I'll contact you then. They ended the call. Time to head to the Yingdu star system, Feihongku star, Li Qi said, signaling Miao Li to ready a ship. As he stepped from his room, a young man in plain clothes materialized nearby. Li Qi inclined his head. Qijian King. I received a message from the Virtual Universe Corporation as well, ordering me to go to the Lingqing star region to apprehend Lajaku, Qijian King said. It should be to assist you. Yes, Li Qi nodded. My mission is to apprehend several members of the Kaledo family in the Lingqing star region. Since we're going the same way, I'll give you a ride, Qijian King offered. Thank you. Li Qi accepted. When Miao Li arrived, they boarded a silver-white sword starship. Qijian King teleported them to the Lingqing star region. A few days later, in the Yingdu star system, Feihongku star, famed for its crimson beauty and tourist attractions, a dark red prismatic ship slipped silently through the scarlet clouds and descended. The hatch opened. Li Qi and Miao Li stepped out. Miao Li scanned their surroundings. The scenery's beautiful, reminds me of my hometown, he murmured. Too bad it's under the Kalido family's control, Li Qi said. Miao Li, locate Wotudu. Yes. Miao Li spread his eternal divine power across the planet. An undying spiritual god's detection could sweep a vast area. In moments he had Wotudu's location. Your Highness found him, tens of thousands of kilometers southeast, in a manor. Li Qi nodded and flew toward the manor. He arrived to find a luxurious estate with a steaming hot spring. He triggered a world fluctuation. His true body stepped out of his world ring, while a clone slipped back inside. As his true form emerged, he activated his genetic primal energy and sent forth a powerful mind power scan. Inside the hot spring, steam curled, while several graceful figures danced amid the mist. Wotudu, over 3 meters tall, lounged naked in the pool, surrounded by wenches. One woman leaned in, fruit between her teeth, feeding him. Then the mind power swept like a blade. Wotudu's enjoyment froze. He roared, "Who dares?" The shout scattered steam and splashed water. Several women fell. One astral rank attendant spat blood, face drained. A dark gray battlesuit snapped onto Wotudu's body, and he burst upward. His eyes widened at the sight before him. A colossal figure, clearly over 100 meters tall, hovering above the manor. A territory lord rank 9th stage, over 100 meters tall, and a psyker master. What a rare specimen. Wotudu cackled, greed and delight flashing across his face. This one's worth a fortune. Li Qi's lips curled. Worth a fortune? I am Wotu Kaleido of the Lingqing Empire's royal Kaleido family. Wotudu boomed. From this moment, you are my slave. You've been arrogant for too long if you think the Kaleido name gives you carte blanche, Li Qi replied coldly. Wotudu's eyes slitted. A feral light flared. You refuse to submit and dare mock me? You're asking to die. He drew a D9 grade laser gun from his world ring and fired at Li Qi's massive form. The weapon discharged almost instantly, a blazing beam aiming straight for Li Qi's chest. Li Qi didn't dodge. From beneath his arm armor, dark purple vines erupted, snaking outward and intercepting the beam. The tendrils began as thin shoots, thicker than chopsticks, but in a matter of meters had swelled to several meters in diameter. The laser's shot nicked one vine. It quickly sealed itself. The tendrils were unbreakable. World Lord rank plant life. Miao Li murmured in surprise. The sight drained Wotudu's manic confidence, replaced by shock. He had formed his entire identity around disrespect and power. Facing a territory lord 9th stage commanding world lord rank cloud-caressing vines, he finally tasted fear. Li Qi's form flickered. He appeared beside Wotudu in an instant. He seized the enormous man in a crushing grip, bones cracked under the pressure. World fluctuations shimmered and a black chain coalesced out of nothing. As Li Qi released his grip, he wove mind power into the chain, binding Wotudu fast. Wotudu screamed as pain lanced through him. He tried to mobilize his genetic primal energy, but found it sealed. Panic churned in him. This is Happy Mid-Autumn Festival to everyone. Seal chains. What do you think you're doing? Wotudu shouted in panic. I'm from the Kaleido family. Seal chains were expensive, specialized devices, normally used to bind territory lords and world lords. Once someone was locked in them, their genetic primal energy and mind power were sealed. A top-tier set could even be used on undying spiritual gods to lock away their eternal divine power. Because the chains were so solid, a captive could usually only rely on basic physical strength. Breaking free by force alone was almost impossible. The Kaleido family had provided enforcement services for hundreds of thousands of years and often used seal chains to subdue powerful figures, so Wotu knew exactly what their purpose was, and that knowledge terrified him. You don't need to know, Li Qi said coldly. He took the world ring from Wotudu and shoved both him and the world lord rank cloud-caressing vine into a small world ring. With a properly cultivated world lord rank vine, a sealed Wotudu, stripped of genetic primal energy and mind power, could not cause trouble using only his physical strength. Li Qi glanced at the opulent manor below, then nodded to Miao Li, who had just flown up. Let's move. Next target. Miao Li nodded softly and followed him into the dark Qi. With a thunderous roar, the dark red prismatic universe ship pierced the clouds and streaked into the void. Lingqing Star Region, capital of the Lingqing Empire. As the center of a mid-level universe state, the capital thrived. After a policy change in its star domain centuries ago, it had only grown richer. On a planet-spanning palace complex, millions of square kilometers in scale, countless elegant youths and servants bustled about. In the main hall, Le Jacques, the current emperor, was immersed in his comprehension of the universe's origin law when something in the surrounding space law flickered strangely. When Le Jacques opened his eyes, the environment had changed dramatically. He had somehow been transported out of his palace and stood beneath alien stars. What? He was stunned and suddenly weak. A quick self-check filled him with fury. How could my divine body have lost 50%? 50% of my divine body. Losing half his divine body meant his strength would drop to less than a tenth of his peak. Eternal divine power carried soul imprints. Losing half of it meant losing half his soul. His law comprehension slowed. 50%, how long will this take to heal? He was in a rage and disbelief. He had transformed the Lingqing Empire and amassed power over hundreds of thousands of years to reach advanced military lord, and now this had been ripped away. La Jacques, a voice came from nowhere. Who's there? La Jacques demanded. I am Qijian King. I represent the Virtual Universe Corporation. You are under arrest. The voice was steady. Qijian King, a king-level undying? La Jacques' alarm spiked. He realized with cold clarity that this voice had brought him to this place. Before he could react, a metallic clang rang out and a dark black chain snapped around him. His eternal divine power was sealed. He could not access it. Seal chains! Le Jacques bellowed in fury and panic. Seal chains capable of binding undying spiritual gods were rare and costly. Once his eternal divine power was sealed, he still tried to flee, but without his undying power, his physical body was no match. The person who had said they would arrest him must be a king-level undying with teleportation ability. Otherwise, there was no way to bring him here. Await the judgment of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Qijian King's figure manifested, and with a light palm strike, he shredded another 20+% of La Jacques' divine body. In seconds, the emperor had lost more than 70% of his divine body. A few days later, cooling star domain, Haimingtu star. The planet was an indigo blue beauty on the outside, but for its native population, it was a living hell. The dark red prismatic universe ship cut through the atmosphere, its supersonic passage howling across the empty skies. Because Haimingtu was an unmodified slave planet, its internal technology was primitive. The dark chi did not need concealment to arrive. As it passed, the natives fell to their knees in mass supplication, crying out, trembling, "Divine Envoy, great Divine Envoy, spare us!" The planet's people were enslaved, exploited, tormented, even sold. All they could do was beg. Li Qi sat in the ship's rest area watching the virtual simulation unfold. He felt a stab of sorrow. Had he been born under different circumstances, on an exploited slave world, he might have shared their fate. He remembered his own fears of being enslaved or possessed back when his unusual physical body put him at risk. Miao Li, sitting beside him, saw the look on his face and sighed. "Your Highness is still young. You've seen too little." The dark chi roared on toward the place the natives called the Supreme God Hall. On the highest mountaintop stood a magnificent palace, hardy enough to withstand biting winds and snow. Li Qi floated 100 meters above it and scanned its occupants with his mind power. 284 astral rank, 8 universe rank, 1 territory lord rank, he murmured. Territory lord rank 9th stage, that must be Kutuo. Supreme God Hall. Such arrogance, he said under his breath. After today, there will be no Supreme God Hall on this planet. He lowered his hand. A giant palm of green genetic primal energy suddenly formed in the sky, larger than the palace itself, and slammed down with earth-shattering force. An astral rank guard cried out and rushed outside. Others followed, and then all of them stopped in shock at the sight of a colossal green hand blotting out the sky. The Titan palm struck the palace, which was mostly built from only C4 grade materials. Its pillars disintegrated instantly. The mountain shook and collapsed. Fragile items inside were pulverized. Astral and universe ranks who had not fled were killed by the blow. From the wreckage, a figure shot upward. Kutuo, territory lord rank 9th stage, burst out clutching a battle knife. Who destroyed my palace?" he roared. When he saw Li Qi, an over 100-meter tall human, Kutuo froze. He'd never seen a human with such an enormous physical body. He also felt the human's aura. Though Li Qi was territory lord 9th stage like himself, The power radiating from him rivaled a world lord of the first or second stage. "Who are you?" Kutuo barked. "Why are you on Haimingtu Star? This is Kaleto family territory." "I'm here to arrest you," Li Qi said softly. In a blur, his massive form moved with surprising speed. Another colossal palm slammed down, sending ripples that cracked space itself. Kutuo leapt to the side, but Li Qi's champion-level movement technique and sheer size made escape impossible. His huge fingers closed like a trap. Held in that hand, Kutuo could only struggle futilely. Even his genetic primal energy, when applied at full force, could not free him from the grip of an opponent whose basic physical strength rivaled a world lord's sixth-stage powerhouse. A metallic clang heralded the appearance of dark black chains. They flew through a world fluctuation and wrapped around Kutuo, sealing both his genetic primal energy and mind power. Once sealed, his resistance dwindled to mere physical thrashing. Li Qi opened a world ring and placed Kutuo inside with Wotu Du, entrusting them both to the world lord rank cloud-caressing vine to keep them contained. "Next target," he said, and the ship lifted off again. Ling Qing Star Region, Liku Star Domain. Mo Li Li Star was a harsh mineral world with a peculiar electromagnetic field that made low-end mining robots useless and high-end robots prohibitively expensive. The Kaleto family thus relied on manual labor for mining, slow, brutal, and exploitative. The dark red prismatic ship flew through dark chi toward Mo Li Li Star. Li Qi studied the profile on his display. "Kang DK," he said, voice touched with regret. "He's the least guilty name on the Kaleto family's arrest list. He fought for our human race on the outer territory battlefields for over 100 years. But after he returned, he couldn't stand up to old ancestor Lajaku's new policies. He sided with his clan." Li Qi felt sorry for Kang DK. If he'd been firmer a little longer, he might have been able to wait for an internal rival faction to rise. But as a direct descendant of Lajaku, Kang DK lacked independent status and support. His closest relatives were all in Lajaku's faction. Family ties had trapped him, and he'd committed many sins in service of that faction. Still, Li Qi admitted, Kang DK's personal floor had been comparatively high. He had refused worse things. Family ties were binding. Li Qi reflected, quietly, he was the pillar of his family and didn't have to face the same impossible choices. Besides, he cared about only a few dozen members, the people who had lived with him and earned his true loyalty. The Royce family, after centuries of growth, had a population over 10,000 despite early restrictions on reproduction. But Li Qi's concern extended only to a handful. Sixth uncle Ivanko, Li Qi himself, 13, 18, and 19. Sixth uncle had married a daughter from a universe-rank family after the Royce branch prospered in the lava starfield. Otherwise, Li Qi had no direct descendants, so the younger generations made little impression on him. In truth, he cared more about the Royce name than about most of its living members. That was why he had been furious when the Luojia clan tried to force the Royce family to give up its name and merge under the main branch. Lost in thought, Li Qi watched as the ship's dark chi pierced Mo Li Li Star's atmosphere. The next arrest was about to begin. Mo Li Li Star hung crimson beneath a thin veil of clouds, racked by constant electrical storms. The planet's electromagnetic turbulence made low-grade tech useless. From the dark universe, the dark red prismatic universe ship Dark Chi emerged and stopped above the planet. "Your Highness," Miao Li reported after scanning the world. "Kang DK isn't on the surface." "Not here." Li Qi reviewed the intelligence. "Our files say Kang DK often leaves Mo Li Li Star to cultivate in the nearby asteroid belt." "Head for the belt," Li Qi ordered Xiaoxi, who piloted the ship. Dark Chi cut its orbit and sped to the nearest belt, arriving within minutes. "Miao Li, sweep the belt for him," Li Qi said. "Understood." Miao Li activated his eternal divine power and scanned the tens of thousands of kilometers of drifting rock. He finished and shook his head. "No trace of Kang DK." "No trace?" Li Qi frowned. "Our intel is rarely wrong. He's been stationed here for nearly 10,000 years. He cultivates outside the planet often, but he wouldn't go far." After a beat, he added, "Extend the search. He has to be nearby." The ship returned and began a concentric sweep centered on Mo Li Li Star. Over an hour later, 70 million kilometers out, Miao Li's eyes brightened. "Your Highness, I found him." "Where?" Miao Li pointed at a small gray asteroid on the holographic display. Inside this asteroid. Inside? Li Qi studied the speck of rock. Kang DK really knows how to hide. Approach it, Li Qi ordered. Dark Qi accelerated. The gray rock looked ordinary, pitted and uneven, but a closer scan revealed a disguised hatch. Through a narrow passage beyond the door, one could reach the asteroid's core. The core, however, wasn't a hollow cavern of rock. It had been replaced with a simple resting chamber. There, a black-haired muscular man sat cross-legged, meditating. An electronic alarm blared through the chamber. Alert! Unidentified flying object approaching. The man opened his eyes. His pupils were vertical slits. Confused, he muttered, "Unidentified? Flying object?" Molili Star was a remote outpost. No inhabited worlds lay within several light years. If not for the planet's mineral wealth, the Kaleido family would never have developed it. Traffic was sparse. Quick travel required access to the dark universe, while the primordial universe's top speed was still sublight. "Open the holographic simulation," the man ordered. As a World Lord rank veteran of the outside territory battlefield, Kang DK trusted detectors. He carried a high-quality, medium-grade World Lord detector with a simulation uplink. The simulation projected the dark red ship parked near the asteroid. Its hull was etched with solidified law seals, the engravings most elaborate at the tips of its twin wings. A universe ship. Kang DK's eyes narrowed. At least E-class top tier. Having served on the outside territory battlefield, his standards were higher than many undying spiritual gods hiding inside human territory. He recognized the ship's significance. Solidified law seals were prohibitively expensive, likely the domain of an undying spiritual god's vessel, not an ordinary world lord's. The hatch of the universe ship opened, and a handsome, black-haired youth stepped out. Kang DK noted the slit pupils and thought, vertical pupils could be some branch of the Luo clan? "Kang DK, come out," a voice projected directly into his mind. Kang DK didn't emerge at once. He replied mentally, "Which branch of the Luo clan are you from?" "Luo clan?" Outside, Li Qi, a youth aboard the ship, was momentarily taken aback. It was the first time anyone had addressed him that way since he entered the Yuan Chen Universe Nation. He answered, "I'm not from a Luo clan branch, but I do have Luo blood." "Luo blood," Kang DK echoed, and something like trust loosened in him. Bloodlines carried weight. He rose and slipped through the passage, arriving outside the asteroid in moments. "Unknown clansman," he said, guarded. "What do you want with me?" "I'm not your clansman," Li Qi transmitted. "I'm here to arrest you by order of the Virtual Universe Corporation. You know my name. You must know who I am. Don't be ridiculous." Kang DK laughed. "How could the Virtual Universe Corporation order my arrest? And you're only an avatar now. How can you arrest me? I'm a World Lord, 8th tier. Kang DK's smile hardened. He bristled. "Don't joke. It's not funny. Believe it or not." Li Qi shrugged. Then, with a curious edge in his voice, "I do want to know, after serving the human race on the outside territory battlefield, how does it feel to have fallen so far in only 50,000 years? Kang DK's face went cold. He snapped, "Who are you, exactly?" Since returning from the outside territory battlefield, Kang DK had kept his service secret from his family. Only his closest knew he had traveled in human territory. Someone unknown now knew he had been to the battlefield. That put him on edge. "I already told you," Li Qi replied. "An authority, at least a world lord," Kang DK mocked, "yet you only show up with an avatar? If you won't answer, never mind." Li Qi's tone grew businesslike. "Then I'll start the arrest." World fluctuations rippled. Li Qi's 2-meter-tall avatar dissolved into his world ring. A massive true form manifested in starry space, an over 100-meter-tall figure clad in black battle armor. How can his body be so huge? Kang DK's breath caught. He quickly assessed the aura. Not weaker than a 1st or 2nd tier world lord, but still, the figure was a territory lord, 9th tier at most. From his vantage in the rock, Kang DK looked tiny beneath the towering form. A deep voice boomed down at him. "Kang DK, by order of the Virtual Universe Corporation, I arrest you." Li Qi strode forward and swung a gauntleted hand, bigger than a small car, toward Kang DK. The dark, beast-like gauntlet pulsed with green genetic primal energy and the depth of the space origin law. Cold, eerie light streaked from it, and wherever his palm cut through the void, space splintered and webbed with black cracks. Kang DK, battle-hardened from the outside territory, reacted and drew his weapon and shield from his world ring, launching a desperate retreat. His speed was maximal, but Li Qi's hand was faster. The gauntlet's power smashed into him before he could fully escape. He brought his battle shield to bear. The impact shattered the shield's surface and drove raw force through to his body. He spat blood and rocketed backward like a fired projectile. What? Kang DK gaped. He'd trained among elites, but this blow's force shook him. Even after being hurled, he thought, this power isn't weaker than a world lord general. Li Qi's hollow message praised him, sent telepathically. Not bad. To take that hit shows your high level among world lords. The strike Li Qi had just unleashed combined 512x life genetic primal energy with a threefold body amplitude, generating a base force equal to 1,536 times a peak territory lord. By comparison, a world lord, 8th tier, averages a base of roughly 1,280 peak territory lord equivalents, so Li Qi's raw strike exceeded the world lord 8th tier baseline. With his heavenly bridge law comprehension at the 12th layer, Li Qi could injure an 8th tier world lord without resorting to specialized attack techniques. Kang DK felt the truth of that and realized he couldn't outrun or outmatch the attacker. Escape was pointless. Who are you? I don't recall offending such a genius. Kang DK transmitted. I already told you, Li Qi replied. He surged forward again, gauntlet swinging. Wherever the dark hand passed, space splintered and webbed. The palm slammed the blue-etched shield with such force that invisible shockwaves rippled through the belt. Unstable bodies shook and some disintegrated into dust. Kang DK coughed blood and skidded backward. This blow felt slightly restrained, as if the attacker held back to avoid killing him outright. I'm a high cultivator under the Virtual Universe Corporation, Li Qi confirmed. As Li Qi closed in, Kang DK hesitated, then recognition flared. Could it be? Li Qi Royce? Since returning to human territory, Kang DK had followed every cosmic peak genius battle. Only one figure matched this youth's features, the runner-up of the last peak genius battle. He couldn't believe that someone who'd been in the Virtual Universe Corporation only 500 years could have grown this powerful. Still, the evidence was mounting. You guessed right, Li Qi said. Li Qi changed the motion from a grab to a slap and sent Kang DK hurtling like a fly into a dark red asteroid. The rock shuddered. Dust and debris flew. The impact drove Kang DK backward into the asteroid's flank. How is this possible? Kang DK, embedded in the rock, could barely comprehend it. How could someone cultivate from astral rank to crushing an elite domain lord warrior in only 500 years? Li Qi's figure blurred. His palm expanded tenfold in an instant, covering half the asteroid's face and sealing Kang DK's escape route. Kang DK had no route out except through the asteroid itself. Li Qi's block prevented lateral flight. Kang DK rammed his battle blade into the asteroid, metal clanging on metal. He stared at the dark red surface in astonishment. The outer meters of the asteroid were ordinary dust and rubble, but inside, the rock was an incredibly hard metal. F-class metal? He breathed. Top-tier 5th-grade weapons were forged from F-class alloys. The F-class blade he held left no mark on the asteroid's interior metal. Its hardness was peerless. Li Qi noticed the material and smiled. An unexpected bonus, he said aloud. It even helped me. He closed his palm, as preparing to snatch Kang DK. At the same time, a dark chain materialized, and under the push of his mind power, shot forward. Whoosh! Under Li Qi's mind power, the black chains moved like a living snake, shooting toward Kang DK. Seal chains. Kang DK, already half buried with only the top of his head exposed, showed no surprise at the sight of the chains. In raw strength, Li Qi, a territory lord, rank 9, far outmatched him. In their previous clash, Kang DK had known the other had held back. Otherwise, he likely would have died. The seal chains spun and threaded through the gaps between Kang DK's fingers under Li Qi's control, binding him. His genetic primal energy and mind power were sealed, his face drained of color, his expression slack. He had clearly taken heavy damage in the fight, though his world lord constitution ensured the wounds were unlikely to be fatal. Li Qi reached to confiscate Kang DK's spatial ring and world ring, planning to lock him in his world ring for detention. When the captive spoke. You asked me before why I fell, Kang Dike said in a low voice. I can tell you now, I could not abandon my family and my clan. Li Qi fell silent. That confirmed his suspicion. Kang Dike had fallen because of his obligations to kin. Otherwise, with his strength as an elite domain lord warrior, no one in the Kalido family could have pinned him down unless an undying spiritual god intervened. If you could have held on a few more millennia, Li Qi said softly, by the time the opposition in your family rose, you wouldn't have had to fall. Kang Dike shook his head. Even if I had known the opposition would rise, I would not have chosen differently. My family and clan are too deeply entangled for me to abandon them. I understand. Li Qi placed Kang Dike into his world ring, feeling a faint melancholy at the unavoidable choice the man had made. Your Highness? Miao Li slipped out of the dark qi and hovered beside Li Qi. He paused at the exposed, dark red metal showing through the broken asteroid and asked, What is this? Li Qi turned to him. Do you recognize this metal? Miao Li stepped to the ragged opening and studied the exposed ore. This looks like F-grade ore, red abyss corroding gold. Red abyss corroding gold. Li Qi split off a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe. Red abyss corroding gold was a common F-grade metal, far less valuable than, say, red blended copper mother. The asteroid they'd blasted into held an estimated 30 kilometers in diameter of ore. If refined, the yield of red abyss corroding gold would be worth roughly 100,000 Hunyuan units. Not much use to me, Li Qi murmured, but it will do for weapon crafting practice. 100,000 Hunyuan units of F-grade ore, and used for practice. Miao Li's jaw dropped inward. To him, Li Qi's casual assessment was staggering. A territory lord rank 9 who could so effortlessly crush a world lord rank 8 with 9th level heavenly bridge comprehension, and who treated the finder's value of a 30-kilometer asteroid as trivial, was not merely powerful, he was a peerless genius born once in tens of millions. Although red abyss corroding gold is common, Miao Li added, where there's large deposits of it, there's often a chance of finding G-grade red abyss essence gold too. Li Qi queried the virtual universe again. Red abyss essence gold was a common G-grade metal worth about 100,000 to 200,000 Hunyuan per ton. It could serve as the main material for 7th-tier mind energy weapons or as a supplement for 8th tier. Li Qi's interest was cool. 7th-tier weapons were mainly for champion-level undying, and when he became a world lord, his combat power would soon reach champion level. So only 8th, 9th tier, or pseudo-heavy treasure materials would meaningfully boost him. Still, an unexpected haul of G-grade ore would be valuable. G-grade was extremely dense, a ton often fitting within a small palm. Even 2 or 3 tons of red abyss essence gold would be worth at least 200,000 Hunyuan units. Li Qi slid the dark red asteroid into his world ring and told Miao Li, if we find any red abyss essence gold associated with it, the F-grade red abyss corroding gold is yours. Thank you, Your Highness. The long-muzzled Miao Li smiled. The asteroid's size made the chance of associated G-grade ore high, not guaranteed, but well over 90%. Securing tens of thousands of Hunyuan units would double his wealth and might allow him to bid for cultivation opportunities in Primordial Chaos City. Let's move. 20 more targets to capture, Li Qi said as he stepped into the dark Qi ship. Miao Li followed, and the ship accelerated, slipping into light speed and plunging back into the dark universe toward the next target. A little over a month later, they arrived above Lingqing Imperial Capital Star, the bustling heart of the Lingqing Empire. Since the empire had loosened its rule, the capital had swelled with decadent elites and corrupt fortune seekers, making its spaceports a constant river of traffic for hundreds of millions of kilometers. A dark red, prism-shaped ship detached from the dark universe and materialized hundreds of millions of kilometers from the capital. It slipped through the traffic unnoticed and sped toward the planet. In the ship's second-floor lounge, Li Qi sat cross-legged on a soft carpet, watching a virtual simulation of the imperial capital. Only one left, he said. After more than a month of captures, 23 of the 24 targets were detained. This last one remained in the capital. With the virtual universe's information blockade, the Kalido family still hasn't noticed the disappearances, Li Qi mused. Once this last one is captured, I can try all 24 in a single trial. I haven't seen Lejaku yet. Maybe Chijan King has already grabbed him and brought him here. With teleportation on his side, capturing a high-level immortal military lord would be easy. The dark Chi ship moved without triggering alarms and descended toward Tuatongtu's estate. Inside a magnificent manor, Tuatongtu, a burly man with a coarse, fleshy face, sat cross-legged in a spacious chamber. A newly made world lord who had broken through less than 10,000 years ago, his law comprehension was unremarkable. But vast cultivation resources had driven his genetic primal energy rapidly to World Lord rank 9. Law comprehension is too difficult, he muttered. World Lord is the best time to grasp a law, but even then, many never become undying spiritual gods. They just watch their lives reach their end. A cruel pleasure creased his features. Bring in 10 slaves, he commanded. Yes, Lord Tuatongtu. A voice replied from beyond the door. Boom. Without warning, the roof shattered. A sharp, nearly 10-meter-long black claw tore through the ceiling. The claw was metallic, hideous, like the talon of some colossal beast. Tuatongtu stared in confusion. The hand resembled a human hand in shape, but its scale was impossible. Even the largest giant races he had seen didn't possess hands this massive. The claw flipped its palm and snatched downward. Debris rained through the torn roof, smashing the luxurious room. As the claw slammed, the space itself tore. Everywhere the black hand passed, the universe's fabric split, long cracks spidering outward. The claw's speed increased, and it slammed Tuatongtu's shield. A metallic clang echoed as a shockwave burst from the glowing shield, shattering windows and walls and sending chunks of architecture flying. Tuatongtu coughed up blood and was hurled backward through several rooms before crashing to a stop. He spat more blood. Although he had fully activated the secret patterns on his shield, the blow had still nearly killed him. What is that thing? Some starry sky giant beast? He gasped, scrambling into the sky to flee. Trying to escape? A calm voice said. A man hundreds of meters tall in black battle armor now towered above him, looking down. Tuatongtu's face went pale. How can a human be this large? You are the last one, the giant said. What last one? Tuatongtu demanded, bewildered. You'll know soon enough. The enormous hand, sheathed in a hideous black gauntlet, reached down. Wherever its fingers moved, spatial fissures opened, and oppressive force descended. Dream on! Tuatongtu roared. He knew instinctively he could not be taken alive. Even if the figure above was a territory lord rank 9, the raw destructive power it had just displayed was beyond belief. Only a fool would underestimate it. He drew his 5th-tier primal force saber and channeled everything into its secret patterns. Both saber and shield flared. He unleashed a world projection. An earthy yellow world coalesced and wrapped Li Qi, pressing slightly upon the giant. Li Qi merely chuckled. A pale green light wrapped his hand as he continued to push down, and a green radiance spread outward to dispel the world projection's influence. Die! Tuatongtu roared and slashed at the descending black hand. The saber's earthy yellow light was heavy. The universe buckled where it swung, long cracks spidering outward. But the blade shattered inch by inch against the colossal hand's power. How is this possible? Despair flooded Tuatongtu. His strongest attack could not budge the hand. The gauntlet's force seemed greater than when it had struck him earlier. The 5 fingers closed like crushing blades. No, he screamed. The hand clenched into a loose fist, pinning Tuatongtu. Only a thin sliver of light through the finger gaps told him he was still alive. He struggled, but the suppression held him fast. Then the clash of chains rang out. The pressure on his body eased, but in the next instant, a black chain bound him, sealing his genetic primal energy and mind power. He could not move, could not call on his strength. The last thing he saw was the giant figure looming overhead, and the world closing in on him.